The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Yesterday, the stars of MENA and EU collided in the Land of Dawn, battling neck-to-neck, head-to-head through a fierce open finals. Pressure amounts with every series now, and today, only 4 of the best teams will make it out on top. Who will rise and who will fall? We're here to find it out. I'm your host, Liz, and you're watching the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Looks like the players are ready. Here we go!
Welcome back, everyone, to Season 6 of the Snapdragon Pro Series for Mobile Legends Bang Bang. We're here at the Open Finals for EU and MENA. Today is day 2. I'm your host, Liz, joined alongside UA and Steph Weezy.
Almost made the call, but we are back. The Rush Hour duo is back in season. It's been a while, Steph, to be on the casting desk with you.
Yeah, definitely a pleasure to be back. Ever since Season 5, I've been wondering just how much Europe has developed and also the MENA region. And today, to be able to see 4 teams move on forward in the Open Finals for a chance to compete in the Challenge season, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, what more can you ask for? We are going to ask something from you. Make sure to follow us on all of our socials for the ESL MOBA. That is ESL Mobile on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And most importantly, to get all the latest information of your favorite games, make sure to join us also on our Discord. That is Snapdragon Pro Series on Discord.
And you know, we are coming to pretty much the last day of the Open Finals for our Snapdragon Pro Series here. It's been an incredible ride so far, especially with all the teams coming in, the performances that they had. Yesterday, we got to see a lot of long and close series. So today, especially now that, you know, we're moving on to the winners finals, the losers finals, we have a lot in store for us.
Yeah, definitely get your popcorn, get your drinks, because there's going to be a lot showcased today. And me, I'm a fan of seeing things go the distance, so hopefully we'll see exactly that. But like UA mentioned, 4 teams are going to be moving forward. As we come to a close, as we get to see who will make it into the grand finals, we got to pan on over to the format.
Yeah, we have went through 4 open qualifiers throughout September, and now we're into the open finals. Today is day 2. We got to see a lot of our favorite teams go to the distance, like Weezy mentioned. Pretty much every game yesterday went to the distance, so I'm sure you're in for something today. The Open Finals is featured in a double elimination bracket, and the 4 best teams who make it out of this bracket will be heading into the challenge season in January.
Yeah, and you know, in order for them to kind of get into that top 4 spots, they have to fight their way throughout quite a tough number of teams, right? Some of these teams are heading into like the qualifications for M6. They have been dominating their whole entire region, and right now we have 2 regions, right? EU and MENA, seeing who is going to be coming out on top for our ESL.
And speaking of ESL, taking a look at what are some of the earnings that these teams will be winning as they progress through the Open Finals. First place with that amazing $3,000 cash prize. Second place right behind them at $1,500. Third through fourth, $750. Fifth through sixth, $450. And seventh through eighth, $300. Enough in the pot for everybody to take something home.
I mean, at least even if you're collecting home a 7th or 8th prize, you can probably get yourself some Jollibees. So that is something to look forward to. And taking a look at today's bracket, we saw a lot of close series, like I mentioned yesterday. Best out of threes go to the distance. Today, we're going to see GK versus Falcons first. That is supposed to happen yesterday, but we're moving it today, the upper bracket semifinals for the Open Finals. And we're also going to see Fluffy Fighters going up against Birthright. Birthright actually knocked out Twisted Minds, one of the finalists for MPL MENA this season. So it just shows you how strong Birthright is right now.
Yeah, and you know, right now we only have 4 teams that are already left in this double elimination. I do believe all these 4s will be moving on to the challenge seasons, but they are still here to battle it out for, you know, the rankings and the prize pools. And Birthright's Fluffy, these are 2 teams that have dominated their region. Fluffy, a little bit of a newer crowd coming in, but Birthright is a team that we've seen before. On the other hand, GK versus Falcon, we know how hard GK has been, you know, doing in a lot of these matches, but Falcon, I believe, is going to be the team that kind of has to rise up to the occasion.
And speaking of rising to the occasion, a little bit of a showcasing from the matches yesterday for the Open Final so far. It's been a hard-fought battle. A lot of teams being knocked off. Only 4 remaining so far out of the 8 who you got to see compete. But nonetheless, it definitely was a journey. A lot of them going the distance, a lot of execution. And I think one of the things that shines with the Open Finals for EU and the MENA region is just how close-knitted these teams are with the level of competition. It's not really a one-sided story, and it's definitely a hard-fought battle.
I mean, what you're currently seeing on the screen is GK versus Twisted Minds, which is like the MPL MENA finals played early at the Snapdragon Pro Series. And all of these games, 3 games pretty much, most, if not all, went to a 30-minute games. So it shows you just as we keep on emphasizing how close-knit these matches are, and I'm sure we're going to see that today as well. Falcons showing a lot of dominance into the matchup. Some of these players in the Falcons lineup are not the main lineup for Falcons, but still, it just shows you how strong all the players are in the team.
Yeah, it's a pretty even matchup in between all these teams. But again, there's only 4 teams that are already left in our day 2. And they're still looking forward to try and get some of these matches, some of these practices us even, because GK is a team that is already dominating in their region, has already done so well to get into the playoff spot. Falcon, on the other hand, is a team that they face consistently throughout regular season, in their practice, and even during the playoff stage. I think Falcon is looking possibly for revenge on GK, but GK, they were looking so good yesterday in their matches.
Yeah, and then a repeat of what we've seen with both of these teams fighting it out in MPL MENA, facing off yet again, another time, this chance in the upper bracket finals. This is going to be a best of 3, and we're going to have to see who's going to be able to bring it to the table. Speaking of both teams, though, as we look at the bracket for GK, Samo in the XP lane, Zeno in the jungle, Smile as the mid laner, Carvey in that goal lane position, and Shin as the roamer.
Yeah, as Carvey and Zeno are both imports into GK Esports, they're really some of the deciding factors that make GK so strong this season.
Yeah, and you know who they're going to go up against is going to be Team Falcon. This is an organization that we've kind of been able to see throughout the times here. I know GK is still up on the board, but yes, we get the Team Falcon roster coming through. We have Alpha and Kenji Koba in the mid lane, Lark in the gold, and Super in the realm. This is an extremely strong team that we've seen them be able to perform and even had a great match up against the Fluffy Fighters. But this time around, they have to kind of go back. They're going to be facing the ones that have been leading in their region. I think this is going to be a complete different matchup that Falcon has to prepare for.
Definitely no peace in the Middle East today between both of these teams, as you are going to see Falcon out of Saudi Arabia, GK out of Egypt. You can't wait to see how both of these teams bring it to the table. But nonetheless, I'm always expecting it to go the distance, and at least from the matches we've seen yesterday, it's looking very promising. Now, there's a lot on the line, right? I mean, there's a lower bracket final, so whoever gets dropped down here does have a little bit of insurance, but not too much, as we are going to be closing out the Open Finals today with the top 4 teams moving on to the challenge season.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's still going to be a fight for peace, a fight for love between the Middle Eastern teams. Right now, what's on the line is really the prize pool, right? So they're all in the challenge season, but who will come on top will decide what they clinch at home in that wallet. First series is ready. Guys, take us into the first match.
Thank you, Liz. First match of the day, Falcons, the Birds, the Eagles versus GK here, that, has been so consistent. If we were talking about the regular seasons, right? Falcon actually had the victory up against GK 2-1. But when it came to the playoff stages, GK, I think they were just preparing well. They wanted to win, and they went into that match 2-0. And this was just like 2 weeks ago, Easy. So, it might be telling a story in terms of their performance yesterday. Since I was casting GK, they played a very dominating series. And this time around, it's going to be up to Falcon. Just like I said, it's going to be up to them to kind of stand up and rise to the occasion.
Yeah, but, we can't count Falcons out. We got to even see them compete in MSC. We got to see them go up against GK and MPL MENA as well. Both of these teams fighting it out. And Team Falcons, they were pretty dominant during that season. So both of these teams ready to bring some high execution when it comes to the draft and also the gameplay in the Land of Dawn. Speaking of the draft, this is one of the things I like to kind of take a look at, right? I mean, me and you both out from North America. We love to see how meta is shifting in different regions, especially for EU&MENA, as you don't really get the opportunity to see this too often. So as we are looking at some of the bans on the board, looks like they're targeting the Assassins for the side of Falcons, taking out that Link, taking out that Hayabusa. There's still some Assassins on the table, though. The Suyo has been such a threat in SPS and all across the world, and it's yet to be banned out. Is it something GK wants to pick up, or do they go in for something like the Phobius, which has also been dominant inside of that XP lane?
Well, good news is that for the side of Falcon, they understand that GK has a lot of assassins in their hero pool. Unlike some teams in North America, they're able to have a lot of different values. But here's the thing, though. Fanny is still available. They took out the Phobius. And for the first time in this tournament, I was kind of wondering, I was like, hey, is the chip going to be coming out to play? And Samo here taking it up on the first pick. I think that's a very solid response. But here's the thing. We haven't seen chip being played out in the professional scenes. How is it going to do?
And to respond back from Falcons, some quick pickups. They're going to take up that Khalid and that Zushin. Both of them have been rising to the occasion. Staple meta with the Khalid, able to have that Raging Sandstorm, able to traverse across the map with the movement speed of that sand underneath his feet. And the quicksand to be able to regenerate himself. He's been such a threat. But then you top that off with a hero like Zushin, right? He has the Lantern, able to provide that early game damage, that AoE damage as well. With the Crimson Beacon, that amazing ultimate to surround herself, it's going to be a threat. This is already early game guaranteed, at least for the side of Team Falcons for these objectives. But there are answers, right? You mentioned the chip. We got to see it a little bit on the North American side in our North American Challenger tournament. It's been rising to the occasion. It's able to keep teams off guard, to be able to teleport your team at a moment's notice to make the numbers work in your favor. It gives you the element of surprise. But I wonder if Team Falcons is prepared for that.
Yeah, Team Falcon's preparation coming through, it seems like they're opting to go for a Mincetar. And we've actually been able to see this Mincetar perform yesterday in one of the matches. I don't know if it was the best case scenario, a response for specific heroes. Yes, it's going to be good against the Chow. It's going to be good against the Nolan. But here's the thing. It's not like you could play the Mincetar and completely counter the enemy lineup. The ultimate, it's only a very small, the King's Calling, right? It's a very small radius. And I understand, maybe if the chip ults in, they use that King's Calling, everyone is stuck there. But here's the thing, that cooldown is on quite a long cooldown and the range is still quite small versus chip. Very versatile, can run around the whole entire map fast. I don't know if that's going to be a good enough counter in the roam position so far.
It still could be flexed though. I'm wondering if it's going to be a flex pick into the gold lane. I mean, we have seen in the past Mincethar's running the gold lane as well. Could be a possibility, but yeah, if it's in that roam position, I'm right there with you. With that cooldown rate of that King's Calling, he's going to have to really be decisive on when to engage, and definitely is going to want to wait until Chip uses that teleport and groups everybody together, and then just drop it right on that teleport beacon, and you should be all right. Now, here is a threat that I'm keeping a close eye on. It's that Cho, right? We've been seeing a lot of roamers pick this up. And to be able to get the separation, to be able to single spot somebody out and get the single target CC with the way of the Dragon is some nasty setups that Team Falcon has to be prepared for. Now, they don't have the easiest heroes to be able to pull this off on, right? I mean, you have the Mincethar, you have the Zushin, who already, when you're rushing in, is going to kite you with that lantern beacon. But then you also have this Khalid, who can be very aggressive, who's very sustainable, and has the mobility to work in his favor. And speaking about keeping a Cho away, there's another hero right there who can do the exact same thing, the go away from this Melissa. That whole bubble that just populates right on top of her will be able to zone him out, and is a very effective answer. And you don't really see the Melissa showcased too often.
Yeah, we didn't really, I think yesterday we did get to see one game on that Melissa, and it was doing quite good. I mean, Melissa is a good hero, but at the recent stages, right, especially with, there's a lot of Rise and the Harith, the Moscovs, even the Roger kind of coming in. There's a lot of other marksman options that's open, but this might just be a comfort pick coming out from the side of Falcon. Now, the Rithel here, side of EK, they had a great victory against Twisted Minds game number 3 with the Rithel. So we're definitely going to see kind of a pattern here. And the Wora, especially in the MENA region, they valued this pick quite high. There's a lot of great teams with some high win rates, but here it is. Falcon complete their draft with a Martis, something we don't really see that often, but in a team that has so much crowd control that KK is setting up, it might just be the answer for this match.
Yeah, but I mean, you are right on the money. Like the Martis, it used to be, I would say, staple meta inside of the jungle. Everybody was trying to get their hands on it, but now it's been almost forgotten with how heavily proud the assassins are, and even the new hero Suyo, how heavily that's focused. And that was available this entire game, and neither side decides to pick that up. That's a little bit of a shocker, at least for me. And this is why I love to be able to kind of jump into other regions and be a part of their events. So we can take notes as casters ourselves and bring it back to home territory. But nonetheless, both sides have completed the draft. I love what I'm seeing so far. One thing we can guarantee is that Mincethar is not in the gold lane. It will be the roamer, as ladies and gentlemen, we are now jumping into game number 1 of this amazing series between GK and Team Falcons.
And make sure, guys, send us the predictions in the chat. Support your team, because we know there's a lot of people that are watching this match, right? And a quick first blood already coming out in the mid lane. You're kind of talking about how there's going to be a very aggressive approach when it comes down to playing this Zushin at mid. And it's not going to be the Zushin, actually. It's going to be the Khalid that was popped up in the roam position.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Khalid running as the roamer. This is going to be the XP lane Mincethar. Not something I would have expected. And I got to ask the question, why? I mean, I guess maybe he was worried about going up against that Cho and getting hit with the way of the dragon into the turret. I think everybody knows how painful that experience can be.
Well, you know, you asked why, and I'm going to deliver. The thing about the MENA region is they actually love to flex this Khalid. A lot of the times they could have him in the roam position so they can find some pressure when it comes down to jungling or even lane priority. Look at it. Even when he is down in terms of the kill, he still has the bush priority. GK, they're standing next to the tower out in the open and they have no vision so far.
Yeah, and speaking of vision, both sides fighting it out. Alpha very low. Samo may be able to take him down, force out the flicker. Kenji will find Shin, though. 1-to-1 on the scoreboard so far, able to equalize inside of the early game for both sides. As the turtle does spawn in, though, there goes the mortal coils. Kenji now in the bush. Both sides ready to fight this out and in retribution distance. GK, though, quickly being zoned out of the turtle pit. Just look at the Jushin and the ability of using that lantern to force the team out, and the turtle will go over to Team Falcons.
Yeah, a great zone coming out from the roam Khalid up down there, but a quick kill onto the top side here. Lark, I think, tried to dive Playboy Carvey, but ended up falling a little bit short. So both of these teams kind of starting off with a little bit of a mistake, right? This is not something that both of these teams are looking for, but it just shows you that both want to just be a little bit aggressive, find a little bit of trades here and there.
Did you just see those final attacks? The range over there by Playboy Carvey to be able to pull that off. Yeah, that was very lucky to be able to get those additional hits, but that's going to guarantee him a kill, which is going to slightly increase his chance of winning on that side lane against Lark. We know that Melissa's that mid to late game marksman, but with Playboy Carvey getting these kills early, it may delay the chance of him coming online as fast as Lark wants to. Xeno will fall, though. That is going to be another member, Super Sheed, taking him down. Playboy Carvey will spawn back, though, takes him down. Both sides fighting it out. Will disengage. Look at the power of Muddles over there inside of the mid, just forcing everybody back right there. 3-2 on the scoreboard. GK with the pressure.
And GK is a team, especially when we were watching yesterday's match against Twisted, that they've dominated the mid game early. But here we come with the Falcons. They're actually being able to stand up against the aggressiveness that GK is providing. They're taking kills and picks here and there as they take away the marksman, denying a small shutdown. 2-1 is now the score for Carvey.
Yeah, able to take the turret on the top side as well, which means Team Falcons does have map prio, right? And when we see them flex this Minsathar down to the XP lane, speaking of flexing, speaking of Minsathar, there goes that spear. It's going to go ahead and hook Samo. He needs to get out of there, though. Very low. That lantern right on his tail gets pulled right back in. It's like when you see the red curtain and then the hook comes out and it grabs the person. That's what we're seeing right there on the bot side. But now a counterplay may be on the way. The Frigid Glacier goes in for the crowd control. Super need to get out of there. A smidge of HP left as he recalls back to the base, and the turtle spawns in.
Yeah, there's a lot of new heroes coming out in this match, right? We see the chip come out to play. Even the Jushin is being prioritized here, but the ultimate.
Raging Sandstorm does drop down, but quickly punished by Smile. That is going to be Super falling on this Khalid. Samo will take down Kenji. Xeno making the most out of the situation without Falcons having the retry. We'll go ahead and take this turtle for GK.
Yeah, and GK pretty much, they neutralize the advantage that the side of Falcon has kind of set up. And even with the lane swap here, the Rithel should be able to grab up the bottom side of the tower. I don't think Alpha has the opportunity to be able to defend, but they are still spending a lot of resources on this bot side here.
Yeah, they need to clear out these minions, though. They have a little bit of time to possibly do so, but they got to be quick. A good defense, a counter response for Team Falcons to stop GK from evening out the pressure on this map. I mean, we've already seen Team Falcons take the turret on the top side. Right now, though, look at this Khalid in the roam position. It's been very effective, and you're right on the money, right? Not only do you have the mobility, but do you have the sustainability from the quicksand, which means he doesn't really have to recall as often as other roamers would have to, especially when they take some damage.
I will have to say this, though, in terms of the late game potential, I believe that Rithel's going to have a better time against a mobile marksman like Melissa. When you take a look at the roam position, I think that the chip is going to scale much better, especially with the multiple crowd controls that he offers, even without the ability to teleport compared to a Khalid. I think GK has what it takes, especially if this game kind of goes into that 15, 18 minute second lord mark, that they're just going to be able to out team fight the side of Falcon. But Falcon has a lot of damage early on. They have Zushin that can just bounce members back and forth, and if it's paired well, it could be something.
And speaking of something, King's Calling dropping down. Alpha and Xeno fighting it out. Xeno said, I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. This is my King's Calling. And Alpha will fall right there. 6-3, GK in the lead, and also able to take another tier 3 turret on the top side. Right now, you're just seeing a lot of these objectives start to go in their favor, but Kenji has a different story to tell. Does get 1 kill, finds Samo with the decimation. Super Shadid takes down Xeno. Playboy Carver with the response back. Will find Kenji a 2-to-1 trade in Team Falcon's favor.
Yeah, just as you thought GK was gonna have a slight edge in some of these team fights, Falcon come back with the response, and GK still looking to push that lead on Carvy's side here. Now, the third objective seemingly going in the favor of Team Falcon. That is gonna completely even up the whole entire match.
Ooh, Samo will find the turtle. Smile taking down Super. Playboy Carvey finds Alpha. Team Falcons needing to get out of there. 2 turtles for GK and an overall 1 trade. They lost nothing in that engagement, but gained everything.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that there was nobody on GK's side that was essentially ready for that turtle. The chip comes in, puts down, and everyone kind of just collapsed through, right? GK here up with almost a 3K gold lead. 8 minutes in, I think now it's going to be time for the GK to set up some sieges, right? Try to get the mid tower, try to get some of the side lane towers. But Team Falcon, they still have quite a good amount of weight here. And Alpha, the King's Calling, it's going to be hard to dive when that skill is out in play.
It seems like GK did their homework watching Falcons so far in the Open Finals. It's the first time these two are going to actually face out against each other since EMEA. But even when they faced out in MENA, Team Falcons was the one who was victorious with a 3-0 sweep in the upper bracket finals. But it looks like it's not the same story up against them in SPS. It looks like they've adjusted, they've made a game plan, and they're executing so far. We're gonna have to see the response back from the Team Falcons. King's Calling drops down with the spear, a 3v1. Alpha will find Shin, first of all, on the side of GK, but GK pulling up, ready to party. Playboy Carvey gets a kill. Samo will get the other. Alpha and Super will fall, and now Team Falcons going to disengage. You're gonna see the 1v1 on the top side and a 2v1 hit by that purple buff. Smile will find Kenji. There goes the jungler. 3 members down for the side of Falcons to 1 on the side of GK.
You know what's interesting is that they had the King Calling set up by the side of Team Falcon. And then you also had the Chip using his ultimate, bringing his whole entire squad in. And the amount of pressure that GK is able to have, just having the Chip available, is essentially paying off. You could take a look. Some of these team fights, it gets turned around just like that. And the Chip, 0, 2, and 8, already having like a 75% kill participation on the board, especially when you compare it to the Khalid, which only has about a 4.
Yeah, and right now, both sides fighting it out over on this Lord. Xeno will be able to get it for GK. Another objective in the books for them so far. Playboy Carvey on fire with this Irithyll, and now the Seas for the tier 3 turret in the mid lane. Smile unstoppable. We'll go ahead and get a kill of his own. Finds Alpha with the Frigid Glacier. Both sides find it out, though. Xeno will take down Lark and Super Shadid side by side. Playboy Carvey to find another. 4 members down for Team Falcons, while Kenji's over there on that orange buff, opening up the opportunity for the push on the tier 3 turret.
Yeah, you could really tell that GK is relying on both the mid laner and the gold laner, right? Smiles doing great work here. 5, 0, and 8 picks up another assist as Chip picks one up for himself, and also Playboy Carvey going out from the right side, getting some damage dealt. This Arytho has been doing so well. You can look at the damage leaderboard. Yes, the 2 squishy members are leading. That's exactly what GK is looking for in a lot of these team fights.
Yeah, and Team Falcons not able to find a way into the back line to shut down Carvey or Smile, and they're just dominating. I mean, you saw the damage leaderboard right there. Lord on the bot side, quickly bursted down by the side of Falcons, stripped down to their inhibitors, but look at Zeno on the top side. He's looking to open up this base. Lark able to stop him just in the nick of time, forced to push back, but pay attention. The high-speed chase. Super with the Lamborghini's not going to be able to get away today. Not even the quicksand can sustain you right there, and another kill onto the side of GK.
Yeah, it might have been a misplay to allow the Chip to walk, because Chip is doing quite a good amount of work here.
And speaking of work, Super Shadid finding Samo, the flicker back to the base, very low, and now GK, they want more. They want to avenge Samo for falling. They found Super, but can they get another? Kenji, in the heart of the battle, a little bit of an overextension is costly, and Playboy Carvey will shut him down.
And, you know, GK is just playing such a great game right now. They're really picking apart what Team Falcon has built, especially in the previous few matches where this Khalid roam has worked. But this time around, it feels like he's just not finding the damage, not finding the early game that they are kind of looking for. Even if you take a look at some of the matchup difference, right? Samo here going up against the Mincetar. The Mincetar should theoretically be the counter, but it seems like if you kind of build that tanky route on the Cho, it really does not matter if the Mincetar gets that King Calling, because you're going to be in a position where you soak up some damage, and it just allows Playboy Carvey and Smiles to really do as much damage as they can.
Yeah, we haven't really seen the Khalid be too effective, at least slotted into that roam position. And the Mincetar flexed into that XP lane. Both of them having a very rough time so far. Need to find a way to turn this around. This may be the opportunity, but look at the damage. Crimson Beacon may go in. Lark will find Shin. Alpha falls as well. Super beside him. Playboy Carvey securing that one. A 2-to-1 trade in favor for GK. Now going to work on this Lord.
Yeah, GK is should have all the Lord priority up available here, but Team Falcon still looking to peek, seeing if they could possibly find a catch themselves. But no, GK finds this objective completely uncontested, as it should, right? 9K gold lead, 14 minutes in. Team Falcon, I feel like the only response that they have so far is to be able to hide in their base and defend, but right now they're taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, they don't look like they want to hide. They look like they want to come out and play, but that's not the right answer right now. Possibly, though, we'll be able to find an opportunity. A double kill by Super Shadid not only takes down Carvey, but finds Smile. Jikundo, Way of the Dragon. Alpha trying to get in there in time. Super Shadid forced to use the flicker. Look at Samo on the chase. One more hit. Super Shadid will fall. Jikundo for the knockup. The finishing touches. Shin with the slam dunk finds Alpha. The counter response, a 2-to-3 trade, still working in GK's favor. Look at the Luminous Lord on the bot side. UA, this may be a game ender. Super and Lark left to defend. Can they hold them off? They need to take down this Lord. They need to push back these minions. Lark on the chase. See Samo may be able to get it. No, Samo able to extend the distance with the Jikundo. The fracture goes in. Kenji will find Shin off screen, and Team Falcons able to hold off GK and take down this Lord.
Yeah, I mean, the side of Falcon, they're able to find a response over the aggression that GK kinda has tried to provide here. Now just cutting the gold lead into that 6K, they're able to defend this second Lord, and I think that's quite huge, right? They're able to get some trade onto some kills. It was looking a little bit grim when they weren't able to find the Rithel, they weren't able to find the Aurora, but this time around, Lark has been able to get some damage onto those two members. They find the shutdown, and yes, GK did come back with some reinforcements, but the game has not ended. And the longer this game goes, the gold lead just matters less and less. If Team Falcon is able to set up a team fight again in a similar situation as what they had last time, kill the two damage dealers first, there's definitely going to be a possibility. But the conceal top side
and the teleport bringing all the members of GK onto the top side. A quick punish. Super Shadid will find Shin. Playboy Carver will get Super Shadid. Gets a double. A triple. Finds Super. Immortality proc on Alpha as well. Needs to get out of there. He wants another one. He wants the Maniac. Not going to be able to get it today, though. But nonetheless, we'll continue the push. Not going to allow Kenji to recall Samo on his tail. 1v1 matchup. They're just duking it out. But the base crystal will fall, and GK secures game number 1 against Team Falcons in the upper bracket finals.
I want to say it was a quite convincing win in my end, right? I was watching GK's match yesterday, and they were able to dominate, especially when it came down to kind of that first Lord coming up 8 minutes into the second one. They just had this 8 minutes, 12-minute rhythm going on, and they're able to find picks here and there. Their strategies were good. Even take a look at that end game team fight, right? Chip had the concealed teleports onto the top side and rushes the marksman. They're able to pick off the Melissa, which is the one that's dealing the damage, and completely just dissect their whole entire team. GK with a convincing win in the game 1.
Shin over there looking like a Tesla taxi. The way he's just putting everybody in those teleports to those destinations to set them up for success. And just overall a great performance from GK in game number 1. I mean, it was really dominant, right? I mean, pretty much every single objective went over to their side. I think they only lost 1 turtle in its entirety, but everything else was for the taking. And this is a complete different GK than we seen when they were competing up against Team Falcons and MPO MENA. And now we're gonna have to see how Falcons responds. Keep in mind, this is a best of 3, which means now GK is in a position for match point, also a position to move on to the grand finals for the first heat.
Yeah, and you know, it could just be a test when it came down to giving the chip away to the side of GK. But for me, this is a hero that you really don't want to give any teams an opportunity to play. It could work as a double-edged sword, but majority of the time, it seems like Chip, as long as you have it on your team, the way that they rotate in the late game, the strategy, it's almost like a Louis, but it's just much easier. And that's not even counting the amount of stuns, CC, shields, and mobility Chip can provide. Early game, Falcom, it felt like they were being the one that had the aggressive, but look at this 3-man stun that Chip kind of had to provide.
Yeah, and then those teleports, very effective. This is when the chip comes into play. Right when you think you have the advantage, that chip pulls out everybody and brings them to the engagement, and now you're outnumbered and the advantage is not in your favor. And that seems to be the story today for game number 1. Also, Samo on fire with this Cho, right? We see a lot of good setups with the way the Dragon for the isolation on single members of Team Falcons. And then let's not count out Playboy Carvey and Smile, the backliners, right? We got to see both of them stacking up the kills. I mean, look at it right there. 8-1 and 8, 8-2 and 9, 7-1 and 10. That's some amazing KDAs, and it kind of raises the question, who is the MVP?
It's gonna be Smiles. Oh, it's Carvey here, actually. 11, 2, and 9. I think Smiles did a great job, but it seems like Carvey was gonna be the one that has essentially kind of just a higher team fight participation, maybe potentially even towards that damage department. I think both of them played a great game and a crucial role. And when we take a look at some of the lanes that Falcons had against GK, Carvey got that first blood early on, also was able to, even in the mid lane, they picked off the Khalid well. So it's a good job by GK setting it up for their main carriers.
Yeah, just well deserved. I mean, like we said, the backlines were doing a lot of the damage, and they were able to play for survivability as well. There was not too many times where Team Falcons was able to even find the opportunity to shut them down, especially with the pressure of the chip and the pressure of the Cho in the front lines. And it kind of makes me ask the question, right? I mean, you mentioned this Khalid in the roam position, something that we've been seeing in SPS a little bit more than other international events. Is it worth flexing into the roam position? They could have picked up anything instead of that Minsathar, and the Minsathar really wasn't that profitable. Speaking of profitable, though, there goes Carvey on the heat map. Look at those rotations all across the map.
Yeah, and you don't really expect the gold laner to be able to do such a good rotation like this, but it really does show you when it comes down to kind of like that 6-7 minute mark, that's when the marksman has the ability to walk around the whole entire map. So guys, if you're coming out tonight and you're playing marksmans in a solo queue and all you do is run it down your lane at 50% win rate, let's go back to this video and just follow the heat map of the professional players.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows you that he's always focusing on the objectives, right? Clearing out these turrets, finding the kills, staying at a decent range to not be picked off, and scaling with those items. And they're going to have to find an answer for it. They need a hero that can get a little bit easier into the backlines. The Minstathar, the Khalid. I mean, the Khalid's it's a great hero to dive in, of course, but when there's nobody there for the crowd control to make up for it, there's not really an initiator, right? I mean, you can initiate with the Raging Sandstorm, but it's only going to hold them there for so long. I feel like there's other roamers that can get the job done a lot easier, and maybe flexing that Khalid to where we see it be more profitable. I mean, it's dominant in the XP lane. Not too many heroes can go toe-to-toe with that. I think the only hero that I've seen so far that's given a little bit of an issue is the CC with the rotation. So jumping into game number 2, Team Falcons, they need to have a plan.
Yeah, what if, you know, instead of taking that Khalid, instead of taking the Minstathar, they put the Khalid in the XP. The matchup is not that great against Cho, but, you know, it's still decent. And then maybe come out with the Tigreal, a Minotaur, someone that can set on top of what the Khalid provides. The Minstathar was good, but when the chip came down to the ultimate and had that AoE stun, there was nothing that the side of Falcon had to prepare for a counter set. But this time around, Falcons have the first pick. The Khalid gets taken off by the side of Geeke. Potentially the Phoveus is still going to be available. That's a very strong first pick, or even the Gato or the Hylos that has been quite banned out popularly.
And the Fanny's still available, right? And it hasn't been banned out yet, and maybe something Team Falcons wants to take away from the board. The Suyo is still on the table again. I mean, it hasn't been heavily prioed. The Jushin, it was very effective with the Crimson Beacons. Even though Shadid didn't pull off the victor, I still think that that mage is such a strong option for either side, and it definitely wasn't the issue on why Team Falcons lost game number 1. I feel like all of these answers is what Team Falcons is going to have to kind of boil down on and figure out which way they want to go, especially with having Prio in this draft. There goes a Gatot.
Wow.
Banned out as well. Now, where do you go from here, right? Do you prioritize the XP lane? Do you go in for this Phoveus pickup, especially with the Khalid being off the board, the Katat being away as well? Or do you go something, you could go safer though. You could pull out something like the Ruby. You know, it could be flexed into 3 different roles, but is it as profitable?
The Trinity of the Ruby, yes. But a lot of these teams, they...
All right, break it down, Yue.
No, what do you want me to say? Franco first pick. Where are we going with this? I'm gonna say that it is a mistake. I'm gonna say that it was on accident. You know, when you go into the rank game, sometimes when you lock in too fast, it selects another hero. That's what I want to believe. But Franco first pick, I'm just going to let the game talk for itself. Something new here. And again, these guys are the professional players. You and I are just casters. If this is something we haven't seen before, maybe they've just been playing a lot with the Franco. But the response, Phoveus and Fanny, 2 solid first pick opportunities here. The Phoveus, a complete menace. I like to call him the Goomba Stomper. I like to call him the first in, last one out employee. He's the MVP. He is the guy you want on your team.
Okay. Okay.
Oh.
Okay,
No.
okay. All right.
Oh.
Here's my theory, right?
No.
They wanted to pick this because they want you to break down how this can work. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
The reason why I think they picked the Franco is because they expected the Fanny to come out super early. I think they picked the Franco because they know GK's, they want to play the Fanny hand, and they bit onto it. Now you see a Kufra as well, which means this should be a Franco in the XP lane, if I'm not mistaken. That's where I think it's gonna go. But we'll wait. We'll wait. Like you said, we'll let the gameplay speak for itself. But nonetheless, they're making a composition where the Fanny cannot thrive, right? They're putting counters on the board to give Fanny a very hard time for these side lane pickoffs. Even with that Kadita, you have the rough waves, the breath of the ocean to be able to get back to safety, and especially with the Fanny who's going to chase on you with the steel cables and the cutthroat. That's the only way I could see this strategy working, but it's going to be rough. I mean, to be able to pull it off, not only are you lacking when it comes to damage, especially because you have a lot of roamers, right? But they have some amazing crowd control and they have survivability, but how long can that withstand the damage output from GK?
I mean, we may be going into an old meta where they like to run this 1-3-1 style, where they have 2 roamers and then they got this jungler where it goes kind of like this hyper carry. They put the mage onto the gold lanes for some magic damage and maybe someone in the XP. So there's definitely a possibility of that. I just think that the chances are quite slim. You said the Franco does good against the Fanny, and I agree, but it's also confusing me more than the Fanny. Like, I am confused where we are trying to go with this. It is very hard. Maybe it's a Claude jungle. I'm speechless here. This is not normal.
They're gonna have to run a marksman. I feel like with this composition, you have to run a marksman in the jungle, right? I feel like it would give them a little bit more range. Maybe something like the Roger may sneak out here. There goes a roamer I haven't seen in a while. The Atlas. I can't even tell you the last time I've seen an Atlas with those fatal links.
He's got a collector skin though, so maybe we get to see the collector skin Atlas. But here's the thing: maybe they run Franco with like damage. Like they have the assassin emblem and they try to go for like that Franco one-hit TikTok build, potentially for the Fanny. So, but there is the marksman that you are looking for. It does add to the DPS that Falcom is desperately looking for, but I still think they're missing a key element. It could be a jungler. I don't know.
It is. It's going to be Martis. Martis, I feel like
Martis is the saving grace.
Yeah, he's the only answer here because you have the fatal links. No, it's gonna be Jawhead.
Jaw's not. Jaw's kind of close to a Martis. It kind of does. It does the damage. It has the the jungle clear. So what are we looking at? Martis in the jungle, Kufra in the XP lane, Super and Koba down mid, and Lark in the gold lane. I think that's potentially where we're going at. It's a little bit untraditional, but it may be something that Falcom is setting up here.
It is gonna put a lot into the hands of Lark, right? He's gonna have to really be explosive on this Beatrix. At least Beatrix is very versatile with all the different weapon types to be able to snipe from afar, use a shotgun up close, or fight from mid-range with some submachine guns. It's pretty much a jack of all trades, and that's really what you're gonna probably need, especially going up against a Fanny who's gonna be rushing in. There's a lot of heroes to keep Beatrix alive as well, so I think the objective is to protect the president right here, right? Protect Lark at all costs, get him farmed up so that he can hit like a truck. As we are gonna see these teams getting ready to jump into the land of Dawn, a lot of questions from that draft, and I hope we get those answers.
Okay, Jawhead in the jungle. It's something that does work. Jawhead's gonna have extremely fast clear. You could already tell GK here, even with the Fanny and he had help in the jungle, Jawhead's still able to kind of find the clear speed fast. But a blind pick Franco is something that I just really haven't had the opportunity to feel. And here he is, Super already being extremely aggressive on the rotation.
So this is Kufra in the XP lane. And Franco as the roamer, I guess it's okay because you have that bloody hunt for the setup, especially when Fanny skates by, and maybe some good hooks could be the difference. I mean, we all know. Yeah, I'm not going to say that. We all know what a good Franco can do. I was going to say. Yeah, but we're just going to keep it at that. A good Franco can be the difference. And hopefully that it will work in Team Falcon's favor. But a little insurance is what they need right now. Smile will fall, though. Kenji is going to be first blood. That is going to be GK with the slightest advantage, but they're going to want it a little bit more. The pullback onto Super Shadid. Shin on his tail as well as Stun connecting onto Alpha. Just look at the synchronization and the plays by GK only 2 minutes in.
Yeah, but you could already see the difference between a Fanny and a Jawhead, right? Yes, the Jawhead has the opportunity to kind of go around in his lane. He has a fast jungle clear speed, and he has damage early on. But the Assassin, the ability of that Fanny kind of... It's just... Oh, it's a good hook.
No, finish it. It's a good what? It's a great hook. It's a great hook. Yeah, definitely. That's what he has to do, though. If he can pull off these hooks, I think it'll be huge. Zeno, though, will find Kenji. You know what else I'm kind of surprised about? They have to pressure the purple buff. If you keep allowing Zeno to get this purple buff, he's going to be rotating around and getting these pickoffs.
Oh, the pressure was there, Weezy, but the pressure got pressured himself. Kenji actually was the one that actually fell on that small invade. So GK here, they kind of have everything going in their way. It's already a 1k gold lead. They have the first in, last out guy. Look at him. He's already starting the team fight. The turtle isn't even out yet, and he's like, no, this area, it is mine here.
Oh, Zeno finding that back line again. Super Shadid will fall. Alpha, the Tyrant's Revenge, not going to hit the mark onto Samo. He's still sustaining himself. It's a little surprising how this Cooper is still able to hang on there, especially up against a Phoveus, who's traditionally one of the top XP laners, at least with the current meta.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to be able to find anything. Wow, some fast hands coming in from Zeno. It's very interesting that the Fanny was not being picked up in game 1, but ooh, a small fight coming out bot side here. They're able to get some trades from both sides.
But the trade's still going to work in GK's favor. They lose their roamer, but they find a marksman and a roamer on the side of Team Falcons. Not only that, Zeno will be able to get this turtle. Wait, there goes a dive in, though, from Kenji on to Playboy Carvey. Maybe punish. There goes a recall for the additional damage, and Kenji will fall.
Yeah, and I think Carvey's going to be quite happy with that kill. I do believe he's already bought up... what's that stack item called right now? But pretty much it allows you to execute people when they're low health. Playboy Carvey's gonna be quite happy getting that kill early on, especially on a marksman 201. Definitely the member that Team Falcon has to look to shut down.
Yeah, they need to be careful. Right now, you're starting to see a snowball rolling. It's already 6-1 on the scoreboard and climbing. If you have a Fanny, just look how easily. Oh my God, that's like catching a fly with your fingertips. But Super has done it, and Zeno will fall.
That's what the side of Falcon has to be looking for. And another one.
He is him. Him is he. Himothy. There goes the demonic force, though, from Samo. We'll find Kenji. The full barrage dropping down. Shin will take down Lark as well. 2 members falling for the side of Team Falcons. Another hook connecting. Super does not miss, but they don't have the damage to respond back. Playboy Carvey will take down Alpha.
Yeah, I mean, a 3k gold lead, 5 minutes in. It kind of smells a little bit of trouble by the side of Team Falcon, but they do have answers, right? They have the Bloody Hunt, they have the hook, and if it lands on the right targets that they're looking for, the side of Falcon definitely have an opportunity to find some trades. But here it is, GK. They have the mobility, they have the Fanny for the late game, they have the Exia, the full barrage that will completely melt front lines. And Team Falcon has set up a very traditional front to back comp that smells a lot of trouble. When you have Exia, nobody can get onto the backside. Maybe the response is to rely on the Kadita on the mid side, get him on the Exia, and potentially they could find something that works in their favor.
Yeah, you know, as much as I want to say Team Falcons can turn this around, I mean, I feel like they kind of just ruined themselves in this draft. I mean, right now you're looking at a GK 10-2, and they have insurance the later this game goes, especially with Playboy Carvey on this Ixia to deal even more damage. I mean, the man's already 4-0-2. Even with the amazing setups from Super, there's nobody to really follow up to dish out that damage. They need Lark to at least be in position for that. Even Kenji, right? He's running in the jungle. He's level 8, 1, 5, and 0. I'm surprised he's only 1 level below Zeno at this point. But look at those guys fighting it out.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised here, right? We have definitely seen a bigger gold discrepancy between both these teams, but here we go, mid side.
Yeah, Alpha need to get out of there. Super Shadid. We'll find Zeno, though. Okay, see, they do have the answers for the Fanny. The flicker to the side with the full barrage play. But Lark wants no parts of it. He's going to start that highlight before it could cross the internet.
Yeah, and a small kill going in the hands of Team Falcon. This is exactly what they're looking for to be able to come back into this game. Not only is a small kill, they find the shutdown on Carvey, and they're looking for more here.
Yeah, NetherRealm trying to keep him alive, but the crowd control, too much to deal with. Super Shadid with the breath of the ocean for the final touch, and Shin will fall again. 10-5 in terms of kills. You're still seeing Team Falcons put on some pressure, and it's a little surprising, especially with this composition.
Yeah, and the light at the end of the tunnel is not that far away. It's only a 3K gold lead, 7 minutes in. We've definitely seen much worse here. And I feel like Team Falcon, they have what it takes to be able to win some of these team fights, right? If they can get the Kadita, the rough ways on one of the damage dealers, it could be the Faramis, it could be the Exia, or it could even be the Fanny, right? If the Kadita rough ways is able to penetrate the back line, Team Falcon's gonna have a much better time. Beatrix should be able to shred down the front, but here we go.
Oh, completely deleted right there. Kenji falling his 6th death of the game. You're going to see the Demonic Force drop down on Alpha as well. Not even able to protect Kenji. And that means they don't have, they already didn't have the Retribution play. This is a great opportunity for Geeke to go in for this Lord. But look at the concealed play. Super rushes in with the Bloody Hunt. Both sides fighting it out. The name bombardment drops down. Play with Carvey. May be able to get a kill. Super does fall, though. This is 2 members down for the side of Falcons and an easy Lord to GK.
Yeah, this is going to be quite a bit of a defense coming out from inside the Falcons. But what they do have is they have a Bloody Hunt. They have the Bouncing Ball, Tyrant's Revenge, but a pick coming out from GK.
Yeah, the Fatal Links connecting. Possible kill, a recall as well. And Playboy Carvey will find Alpha. There goes a flicker in, though. Breath of the Ocean, full barrage dropping down. The conal damage. Kenji taking out Shin. Carvey with the double finds Kenji. 2 members falling for Team Falcons. A 2-for-1 trade, all while a Lord marches down the mid lane.
2-for-1 trade. It's not really the best case scenario for the side of Team Falcon, but Alpha is going to be able to spawn up before Shen is able to walk down to the mid side. So Team Falcon here, they should be able to find a defense. And when you're talking about one-sided games, right? 9 minutes in when the first Lord comes in, it could be a lot worse for Team Falcon, but Team Falcon still holds on to some of their inner towers here. They have even an outer tower onto the bot side. I would say Team Falcon is holding on quite well, even with such an unconventional draft that we really haven't seen before.
Yeah, and you are looking at GK pushing down the mid lane. They're going to try and make the most out of this advantage, especially with having this high damage output. Links will connect to 1. Full barrage. Playboy Carvey from afar takes down Lark, makes the most out of that assist. Super Shadid will take down Shin. 1 member down for both sides. A marksman for a roamer. But GK not going to be able to open up the base so far. Able to push up the map, though. There's only 1 tier 2 standing on the bot side.
Yeah, and maybe it was like a small TikTok trick, but the Atlas flickered backwards and was able to get that set, but mid-game here.
Ooh, Playboy Carvey finding Kenji in the mid lane. You are looking at GK in total control of this game so far. But you know what, UA? If Team Falcons finds a way to turn this around, it may be the most impressive thing I've seen in a tournament ever. And here it goes. This may be that opportunity. Demonic Force dropping down. Samo trying to get the Super Shadid, able to find him last second before he goes back to the base. Playboy Carvey taking down Super, gets a double, finds Lark as well. A triple as Alpha will fall. Team Falcons falling like dominoes. And now going toward that base crystal, trying to get the sweep. They have a minion by their side, but Kenji spawning just in time. He just needs to clear that 1 minion, rushes in. May be able to get a hit with the Fatal Links for the setup, and he will fall, but the minion drops beside him, which delays the push. Zeno! What is going on, man? He was in for like 2 seconds. You could have gave Super Shadid a little bit longer than that. And right now, they're still pushing in, but is this an overextension? Will Team Falcons be able to avenge Super Shadid right there? Because that was just insane. There goes the Demonic Force going down. Both sides fighting it out. Full barrage will drop as well. Nibiru's Passion came out from Lark. Didn't really connect to any members of GK, as we are seeing that replay, but also seeing on the bot side a possible game enter. The Fatal Links connecting yet again for the setup. Carvey will find Kenji. They have the minions. They're just going to let the minions take down the base crystal. They just want to fight it out. They don't want to lock the base at all. Playboy Carvey is going to find Super Shadid. There goes a bloody hunt for a setup 2v2. Demonic Force for the drop down, and Playboy Carvey the shutdown Lark. Look at Zeno. It's a bird. It's a fly. It's a Fanny with a retribution and a kill. One member left to go. Alpha, a man against the world. Nothing but a bouncing ball, a hope, and a dream. And a Tyrant's Revenge setup. But look at the base crystal. That minion, one more hit, able to shut it down. And GK, a clean sweep against Team Falcons, claims their seat in the grand finals for SPS. And who would have thought this would have been the way for them to do it?
You know, it's hard, at least for me, to be able to kind of take this type of games a little bit more serious. But it seems like GK has found the ability to make something like this even fun for them. 27-10 is the overall, as the side of GK is able to take a very convincing game to. Now, Falcom, they definitely had some fight in them, right? They were able to get 10 kills, but here's the thing, GK, they still played that quite well, right? And Sano, 3-0-13, the man that came in first in every one of these team fights and literally did not die when he was the front line. And Carvey here, 17-1-4. This man, highest damage dealt, highest team fight participation.
Yeah, and that's going to mean Team Falcons is going to drop down to the lower bracket finals. And you know what? Okay, hear me out. It may sound crazy, but I think they did it on purpose. Yes, I think that they want to go down to the bottom bracket. They want to have another chance to fight another team. They already know that they're at least confident enough to think that they're going to make it into the grand finals anyway, and then they'll be able to take down GK. So why showcase their strategies, right? Rise showed them their drafting potential. They're going to save it for the grand finals.
I mean, yeah, Fluffy Fighters definitely is going to be the one that I think is going to be matching up against Team Falcons, and they're most definitely watching for this match. But let's take a look at how GK was kind of able to push their lead up in game 2. It really started with Zeno on this Fanny. The early game that he had, he picked up a few kills here and there and was just able to kind of snowball throughout the whole entire map. But when it came down to the mid game, it was Playboy Carvey that was the one that took control of the match.
And just a full domination, not the way we would have expected, but nonetheless, an overall victory for the side of GK to get their first seat into the grand finals for the open finals of SPS Season 6. There's a lot of highlight moments, some TikTok plays, as Yue would mention, and we'd love to see it, right? Sometimes you just got to have a little bit of fun, and that's exactly what both sides were doing today. I mean, just look at Zeno. That has to be the most brutal thing I've seen in a while on a Fanny, man. As soon as he was just like looking at that, waiting for him to spawn in, and as soon as he touched ground in that base, he was shredded. And there we go, Mr. MVP, Carvey himself, 17-1-4.
Taking care of business as usual. This man is just there for every single one of these team fights. He's killing for sport at this point, right? And you know, well deserved. They're leading up to this point. Even when even in every other match, he's taking the games quite seriously. He almost tries to get that advantage early. When it came down to trading, he trades quite well. It really does show that, you know, he has a lot of experience and he's able to, you know, be the best of the best from that gold lane, especially in the MENA region.
Yeah, just an overall great performance over there. Speaking of performances, Liz, you got to let us know, how do you feel about all the action so far?
I mean, I gotta say, there was a lot of action. We've been so used to seeing 5-kill games, 3-kill games, aiming for that objective. But when it comes to these games, we get to see 14 kills coming out from one single player. So that is definitely a lot. And also, I saw an Atlas. Am I correct? I saw an Atlas on the roam. That's something that I haven't seen in many seasons, and definitely not expecting to see in this season.
Yeah, I mean, it was an Atlas. It was a collector Atlas skin that I believe came out 1-2 months ago. You know why I know that? I love the roam skins as a roam player myself. The Hylos, the Atlas, the Jawhead. Those are some beautiful types of skins. Who keeps making them? And you know, we just keep buying them.
I'll tell you what, I think You know, I was trying to make sense of the draft, and there's only one other thing I can think of. I think UA just made them so nervous that they just started throwing anything out there, man. But we got to take a look at the bracket so far. Like, where does this land us for SPS?
That is right. Looking at the bracket, it does put GK into the grand final spot for the Open Finals, and drop down to lower bracket is Falcons versus Fluffy Fighters, a name that I did not expect to be seen in the last in this seeding at this stage of the Open Finals. We had some doubts with Fluffy Fighters, especially against a lot of these big names, but they were able to take down Birthright from the EU region. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, not once but twice they were able to take out Birthright in the upper bracket first round, and now able to do it underneath the lower bracket. But this time around, they're going to be facing up against Team Falcon, which has done so extremely well in this tournament. They won against R8 in a best-of-3 fashion. They took care of Fluffy actually in 10-12 minute fashion. The last time that we saw these two teams face up yesterday, Falcon, I want to say, cheesed the matchup. They had this Khalid that did some invading strategy, so I just want to see if they're going to be able to find a way around that strategy.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll definitely be scrambling in my boots if I'm Fluffy Fighters, especially after seeing that 4-man tank composition from that draft. So we got to see what these matches have in store.
Yeah, can Fluffy Fighters get their revenge against Falcons? We'll find out after a short break.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Monster Energy, and DHL.
First game went into a sweep. Let's find out how this game will take it for us. Welcome back to the SBS for EUR&MENA. I'm your host Liz with Yue and Steph Weezy.
Yeah, and we're back in for another exciting best of 3 match between Team Falcon, which we saw earlier. They didn't really go to where they wanted to go against Geek, but this time around, they still have another chance, and their enemy is going to be the Fluffy Fighters.
Yeah, I think UA just made him nervous, man. That drafting was pretty crazy. But now jumping into a match against Fluffy Fighters, a chance for Fluffy Fighters to get revenge. I mean, Team Falcons was the team that knocked them down to the lower bracket, and now a chance to knock down Team Falcons entirely from the Open Finals for a shot at being a grand finalist could be the revenge they're looking for.
Yeah, it is in fact the cutest logo ever with that little punch. Let's see how many punches Fluffy Fighters can throw against Team Falcons. We were talking about how Team Falcons, they weren't playing as serious as we would expect with a lot of the picks. So we're kind of trying to figure out how they will take this series. Are they going to let the Fluffy Fighters throw a few punches, or are we going to see the same thing that happened yesterday?
Well, yesterday, that match was quite hard for the Fluffy Fighter fans out there watching, right? We saw a very huge invade. It was kind of like a cheese move where they were able to make the enemy jungler, especially on the Fluffy Fighters side, struggle quite a bit in the early on. So we really have to see what type of changes, adjustments Fluffy is going to be making in the upcoming match. Yeah,
for all you Fluffers out there, look at the fighters ready to go. The gloves are on. Lido in the XP lane. The jungler going to be Fafnir. Esno in the mid position. Krev as the gold laner, and Pimmy for that roam position.
Yeah, and you know, the Fluffy Fighters here, again, it's a group of, I want to say, newer players in my opinion. Fluffy Fighters here, again, their logo kind of shows this cute, sporty 1-2 punch boxers. But Fluffy Fighters themselves have kind of came out with quite a dangerous game to be able to take out Birthrights not only once, but twice, Weezy. Like, that takes a lot of guts there.
Yeah, cute but deadly. Don't take them lightly. We got to see what they bring to the table. I think we can all agree that we'll be expecting them to be the underdogs. But, I mean, there is a chance for them to be able to get some redemption, especially after being knocked down to the lower bracket from Team Falcons.
Yeah, redemption is what they need. And for the viewers out there, we want to see what they got in their pockets, because we didn't get to see a lot of these matches that they actually showcased their skills and took down some of the big names out there. None of these matches was broadcasted, so we didn't really get to see how strong their fights are, how strong that little red gloves throw at the punch. You know, it looks like a cloud but fights like a sword, and let's see where the sword takes us as we jump into the series.
Yeah, Fluffy Fighters, again, I think everyone is just looking at the logo, and it's so nice to look at. It just brings in so much warmth, and we really do want to see them perform here.
Be careful, you're gonna turn into a fluffer if you look at it for too long. I'm telling you, it's contagious. I'm sure a lot of the fans out there will tell you the same thing. You just get lost in the eyes, but then the gloves are just shining right after that, man. So just be careful. Proceed with caution. Speaking of caution, here's the draft now on the way. Team Falcons. There goes that Fanny. Yo, I don't know what's up with this whole Fanny situation with them, right? They were comfortable going against it and pull out like 4 roamers, but this time around they're just going to ban it out. I think banning it is more effective than pulling out 4 roamers against it.
In terms of the bans here, Fluffy Fighters doesn't really have too many options. A lot of the teams, they do have to ban out the chip. That's number one. And number two, maybe the Phoveus if they don't have a very good strategy to come up and deal with. And for Fluffy Fighters specifically, they've struggled against an early game Khalid, the strategy that Falcon loves to put ahead. So taking that out is great. Now the Fanny ban, here's the thing. We don't have statistics on Fluffy Fighters, but just in the few matches that I was watching, especially them against Falcom, the Fanny has been an overlapping ban twice. They were using the Hayabusa in game 2. So that does tell you that Fluffy definitely, although looking quite cutesy and stuff, he's definitely hiding an assassin weapon, a power player in the jungler that is just super proficient at a lot of these split push, long range, fast killing assassins.
Everybody's looking at the gloves, and hey, there may be a knife right behind the back of that amazing mascot. There goes that Phoveus pickup, though, for the XP laner for Team Falcons. I like what I'm seeing so far, paired up against the Katat and the Hylos. Now, this is what I would say is more traditional meta that we're used to seeing, right? I mean, both sides are already getting very explosive inside of the draft. Now, the XP lane matchup, right? You're seeing a Hylos and you're seeing a Katat, which means only one of these is going to be in the roam position. The other is going to be flexed to the XP. But which one do you choose?
I would choose the Hylos. I happened to play a lot of Hylos recently in this season. Got to a global 10 spot on the horse, the one trick pony. And I would say one of the best matchups in that XP lane going up against the Phoveus is going to be the Hylos. And this is actually the first time that I've been able to cast the Hylos match in the SPS, right? Probably some of the ones that we didn't get to view online, they had some Hylos, but this is the first for me. Now, there is a lot of counterplays, right? For example, Alpha, true damage towards tank. No matter how much you build in the defense department, he's going to shred you. And also this Vexana that has been used so widely, it's so annoying to deal with, especially when the ultimate comes down and it's just anti-heal for the next 40 seconds.
Now, we've yet to see the ADCs, though. We don't know who's going to be running that gold position. Speaking of marksmans,
Lunox,
there goes that yep, Lunox carry, both some tank bursters on top of that. Definitely could be some problems and some threats as well. I actually like the Lunox here because if you put it on the side of Team Falcons, then you have the brilliance, right? There's a lot of survivability, especially when you have a Nolan who's going to dive in on you, try and get that fracture off. When you have a Katat with the Avatar, the Guardian for the setups. When you have a horse, half a man with a glorious pathway running at you with a spear, that brilliance is going to be the only thing to keep you alive. But we'll see. I mean, you can also run other marksmen for survivability. The Claude is still a great option to be able to pick up. So we'll have to see. There goes that Melissa banned out, though. You know, it's a very interesting when you compare this to at least our region. The Melissa is not really prioed, but here we've seen it today. You mentioned you've seen it yesterday as well. And we're also seeing it on the banning board and prioed over heroes like the Claude, which is very shocking, at least in my opinion. But I guess maybe it's because there's already 3 heroes there that are going to try and close that distance. And if you use the go away, it's going to make it a little bit harder for them to get the setups they're looking for.
Whoa, I think it's just kind of a comfort hero, but another comfort. We saw the Exia kind of come out in the game 2 match earlier, and this time around Penny is going to be the one that picks it up. Now, traditionally, a lot of these jungler gold lanes, they like to be opposite in terms of physical and magic, but this time around both teams are opting for physical junglers and physical gold laners. A little bit of a surprise element from you. We haven't really seen the Leslie come out as much as we maybe like to, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I love to see new picks, but the question is, how effective is it? Is it worth not picking something up like the Claude, right? Leslie's good. I mean, I guess it can have a little bit of survivability aspect. You can fight from afar. You have the range with the ultimate sniper to be able to pick off anybody trying to go back to safety, as long as there's nobody beside them to kite and take that damage. But we'll have to see. I'm expecting there's a reason for this Leslie, and I would love to see it. It's the first Leslie I've seen in a while, but I've learned that as we progress through the SPS, there's a lot of first times for things that I haven't seen in a while. I mean, I never thought I'd see a Cloud with some boxing gloves on, looking so cute up there for the side of Fluffy. But hey, here we are, man, and you just love to be a part of it. As we are now jumping into the game, though, this is the redemption arc. This is a chance for Fluffy to change the story. For all those fluffers out there to be proud. This is also a chance for Team Falcons to get another full domination and knock them out of the Open Finals and say, hey, we'll see you in the challenge season.
Yeah, and you know, game number 1 between Team Falcon and Fluffy Fighters here. Falcon again in their last match did really well against Fluffy Fighters. Didn't really even give the Clouds a fair chance in any of these games. But this time around, I think Fluffy Fighters has went back into their draft. Having a Hylos at mid allows for, you know, early game pressure to not be, you know, completely destroyed. And you can see here, oh, a first blood coming out from the side of Fluffy Fighters already.
Yeah, and that's going to be Alpha, the one to fall on the bot side. The rotation from Krevy down there. Yeah, it's definitely different. It's super early, too. It's what caught him off guard. He just thought that it would only be Lido on the 1v1 matchup. But hey, there's the crowd control and there's the damage that the Aurora can provide super early in the game.
Yeah, and I think what happened was they actually put the Aurora into the XP lane early, and they played like a 1-1-2, where the gold, instead of going, instead of the mage going to the XP lane a little bit later on, he takes that first wave, and I think that's a very interesting strategy that Fluffy Fighters has kind of come up with here.
Yeah, the power of the fluff prevailing in the early game so far. With 1 kill in their advantage, they will be leading slightly in the gold lead. And also with Alpha falling a little earlier, may make it a little bit easier for Lido. But speaking of easy, a possible response play. Kenji caught out of position. Lido able to take him down, a little overly aggressive. That's going to be 2 kills for the side of Fluffy Fighters.
Yeah, and I just want to say that this has been the best start that I've seen Fluffy Fighters ever have here. Now, ooh, a taunt coming out.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are in Fluffy's favor, forcing out Falcons from the turtle pit. Not going to even be able to contest with Kenji falling right there. They don't have the retribution, and the first objective over to Fluffy.
Yeah, and you can see the side of Team Falcon actually not doing so well in terms of their levels. Multiple level 3 members on the side of Falcon. Fluffy here playing a complete domination when it comes down to kills. They're getting picks off here and there. Even that gold lane is able to rack one up for himself. And when you take a look at the levels, everyone is quite healthy on the side of Fluffy Fighters.
Yeah, and off screen, we got to see Alan get a 1v1 trade up against Lark. He was able to shut him down on that Leslie, which means Ixia has the prio when it comes to the gold lane. Something they're going to have to be careful for. Already with the advantage that Fluffy is building up. You saw that Deadly Fracture go out. A lot of damage on the super, forced to go back. There goes a taunt, though. A little bit of conal crowd control on to Alpha as well on this Phoveus. Right now, though, Fluffy Fighter off to a great start.
Yeah, a much different early game. And you talked about kind of like the 1 versus 1. I think Alan here is going to be the one that is able to potentially pick one up for himself. Ooh, yeah, the ultimate comes down here. The missile barrage connects. And Fluffy Fighters come up with one. But Krevy here getting taken off the board.
Yeah, Kenji's going to be the one to shut him down. Not even the Pride of Ice can save that. Full barrage from afar from Alan is going to hit that Eternal Guardian. But Pimmy needing to disengage, needing to be careful. Alpha charge to expand and get a little bit closer to Alan, but not close enough for the final touches. But Super may be the difference. Alan finding Kenji, Super finding Alan in response. That is going to be a 2-for-1 trade in favor for Fluffy.
Yeah, a little bit of a blood bath coming out from both of these teams here. Multiple members dropping from left and the right side, but Falcon, it seems like they found a little bit of traction. They're able to get a few trades in their favor, even taking off some of the more important members of the side of Fluffy Fighters. And now the second turtle comes up here. Kenji, an alpha, typically is gonna have a greater time in terms of the objective, the 50-50 objective, while Fafnir should have the ability to move in.
Lido with the Avatar of the Guardian completely gonna miss the mark. Jurgensen Glorious pathway drop down. Raph Fafnir is going to get the turtle for the side of Fluffy Fighters. And now response play on the way. Lido able to take down Kenji as well, just getting even more objectives. Krevy taking down Super members, dropping left and right for Falcons as Fafnir takes down Alpha as well. 3 members off the board right now. And all while this is happening, Alan left alone on the top side, pressuring Lark and able to chip all the gold plating on the top side. Look at the damage on the bottom as well. Krevy, Lido, a sandwich onto the bot laner, Super Shadid, who's usually in the mid, but left to defend on the bot side. And with the taunt, hit with the kill as well, and Lido will secure it.
Yeah, Lido secures that kill. The side of Fluffy Fighters actually finds some pressure onto that purple buff. And here we go, right? Fluffy Fighters here with the first 2 picks in their draft, the Gato and the Hylos, really having a huge impact on the game. Pemi is already 0-0-5, almost 50% kill part, more than 50% KP, and Lido here with a 7 out of 9. This guy has been there for his team and for some good reasons, right? Gato is one of those heroes that just do so extremely well, can be flexed onto the gold, XP and the roam.
Phoveus, Alpha. This is where the Phoveus has its limitations, right? When you engage with Phoveus, you have to commit everything. You can't really get back out. I mean, he's not the most mobile hero, so you need your team behind you to engage, especially when you have those demonic forces, because if not, as you see right there, you're going to quickly get bursted down by the opposing side. With the full barrage combination, Kreb will take down Shadid. Pimi finding Lark. Allen finding Super. 3 members down for the side of Falcons and climbing. UA, it is a 13-2 lead, and they look to get a little bit more. Alpha, Kenji fighting it out against 4 members. Make that 5 as Rap Fafnir joins for the side of Falcons. Able to take down Alpha. Just needs to go through Kenji next. The stun, too much to handle, and Fafnir with the double kill.
Yeah, and Fluffy really looks like it's all business here. They didn't really find the results that they were looking for yesterday, but this time around they're coming out with full force. They haven't really given up any kills that is like really that impactful, and there's no throws here, but here.
Yeah, you're gonna see the Pride of Ice come back to save Krev, but Lark will be able to find him last second to take him down. Full barrage from Allen, trying to get a response back. Fafnir able to get the turtle off screen. There goes that ultimate sniper combination with Alpha. Dropping down some massive hits. We'll find Allen, Avatar the Guardian. Lido able to escape back to safety. 2 members falling for the side of Fluffy, but able to get a turtle off that engagement.
Yeah, the Cast Curse continues here, Fluffy Fighters. You know, I was just kind of talking about how perfect they've been playing in this match, able to take every objective, fight for everything. And then here we are with Falcom. They come back with a little bit of a steamroll. They're able to pick up a kill or 2, even a shutdown for their side. And here we go. They're even looking for more on the top side.
Okay, this is just getting insane. It's just like they just want to fight it out. As soon as Kenji and Rat Fafnir lock eyes, you know what type of time they're on. But right now, the one holding that watch is definitely Rap Fafnir, as he's able to win the 1v1 trade. 5-0-3 on this Nolan. The Terrify connecting on the Lido. A couple of snipe shots as well, down on about 50% HP. Fluffy Fighters, even though they're starting to lose a couple of members in these engagements, they're still winning overall across the map. They have yet to lose a single turret.
Yeah, and when we kind of talk about how the team fights are being set up, right? Aurora, Hylos, and Gatot paired up with the Exia, it's just smelling a lot of trouble. It's like they have huge ultimates that have so much synergies combined with each other that they should be able to set up a very, very clear team fight that just completely dominates the side of Falcon. So I think Falcon, if they have the opportunity to fight, they must find different angles around them. If they do a traditional front to back, they're going to have they're going to struggle, because the full missile barrage, the glorious pathway, the Avatar of the Guardian, these are huge ultimates that create a lot of problems when it comes down to fighting a traditional front to back.
Speaking of back, Krev, back to the base he goes. Almost hit with that ultimate sniper final shot, but a good defense from Lido to be able to kite that damage. But that means he's not in position for a contest on this Lord. Should be able to get there in time, though. We've seen a couple of items pop up on the board. Dominance Ice picked up by Alpha for the anti-heal. You are seeing both sides fighting it out, though. Pimi taking some hits. Avatar the Guardian trying to close in. Lido looking for a possible setup. Full barrage connecting on the Super. Very beefy boy. But Raf Fafnir will be able to shut him down with the fracture. Kenji trying to get away. The wrath from Lido may be too much to handle. The taunt is going to connect. He gets a double, finds Alpha, but Lark will respond back, taking down Pimi. Lido able to find Kenji, gets a double, takes down Super Shaded. Krev getting Lark a full wipeout against Team Falcons, and Fluffy will win the trade and now go for this Lord.
Yeah, Kreb on the backside here burned that flicker, but was able to clean up the rest of the unit. And you know, this team fight is just set up by the Hylos early on. He was just out there in the front taking some ultimates here, and then you have Lido just cleaning up the rest of the units. Everyone in the side of Fluffy Fighters is coming out into these team fights and providing so much value here. Fluffy Fighters are looking quite good in this game on here, and Falcom, not really too much of a response. It could just be due to the fact that the Phoveus has not come online. Kenji on this alpha, it's just not working out yet so far.
We're starting to see the Dark Horse rise to the occasion. Fluffy Fighters in a great position to take game number 1. They even spot out Super in the bush, expecting the unexpected, all while at the same time, simultaneously, the Lord marching through the mid lane. Highest kills in the game is going to go over to Rap Fafnir on this Nolan, 7-0-4. But right behind him, Lido doing a great job on the Katat, 6-0-11.
Yeah, and Fluffy definitely here taking everyone by surprise. Although, yes, they did win against Birthright both games. It just really means that Fluffy definitely has a lot of strategy, and the Glorious Pathway comes down.
But do they have enough fluff to close out this game? Glorious Pathway down the mid lane. Pimmy taking a lot of hits. Hit with the knockup, hit with the crowd control. Alpha able to get Pimmy, maybe able to get some more. Super taking down Allen. Krev with the winner crown, not enough to save him. Alpha will be able to shut him down as well. That is going to be 4 members falling for the side of the Fluffy Fighters. Rap Fafnir left to pick up the pieces all by himself, and Team Falcons will win the engagement.
The Hawks have cleared the skies with his wings, blew away the gloomy days here as they take care of business in front of their base, looking for another push here. It's still a 5k deficit that Team Falcom has to fight, but they're able to find a little bit more momentum, and that's exactly what Falcom needs to do. Set up a team fight. They got the implosion on a 2-man stun onto the backside units of Fluffy Fighters, and they're able to take that engagement as a win.
Speaking of engagement, Vengeance being proxy. This is the Phoveus. You have to engage. Alpha charge for response back from Kenji, though, as Alpha does fall. Able to get a kill on the Rap Fafnir, but will fall himself to Allen. That is going to be a 2-to-1 trade for Fluffy, but they do lose the tier 3 turret on the top side.
I mean, they did lose a tier 3 turret on the top side, but the side of Falcom, they're able to get another push onto the bot. So they took 3 towers, they got a few kills in trades, but this time around, I think Fluffy understands where they're at, and they're not going to be making the same mistakes again.
Ooh, Lark, a little too far past the base. Gets spotted out by Pimmy, not able to go back. Super Shadid takes down Krevi. That is going to be 2 members down for both sides. Kenzie should spawn in time, but look at the damage output as we're passing the 13-minute mark. Team Falcons is starting to hit back.
And when it comes down to hitting back, right, the Vexana is going to deal tons of damage. Alpha, I think, kind of scales in that mid game where he has a few items, has a full cooldowns, but Phoveus, as he goes on more tanky and more tanky, he's just going to give Fluffy Fighters a little bit more trouble because the ultimate now has not much of a cooldown, and Lark is a late game cannon. Those Leslies, we've seen them hurt, especially when they get onto that full item. But again, Exia, also one of those heroes that do pretty well in the late game. So expect Fluffy Fighters to, you know, give a fighting shot here.
Yeah, he's definitely larking, waiting for the late game. As you're going to see the full barrage connect for the conal damage. Lord almost down. Kenji will find Krevi. Super Shadid finds Allen. Kenji able to get the Lord for Team Falcons. A pushback at its finest. Gets the double. Finds Pimmy, which was once an advantage, now turning over to Team Falcons. And Fluffy Fighters, for the first time, is not in control of this game. Rafnir has to run for dear life to flicker in. He baits a little bit of utility. He just needs to get back. I don't think he's going to get out of here, UA. This is a hot chase. We're seeing it. This is live on the news right now. Rap Fafnir, high-speed chase, trying to get away from Team Falcons, using everything at his disposal, buying as much time, hits the bush, hit with 3 ultimate snipe shots, sidesteps Alpha. It's still going to go in. Here comes Lark. Can he escape? Even the immortality being procced. Winner crown next. Get in there, Fluff. Not able to save him, and Lark will shut him down, but he has bought a lot of time. You are looking at a Luminous Lord on the bot side, closing in toward that tier 3 turret.
Yeah, that's a lot of time that Fafnir has kind of allowed his teams to have, but is that going to be enough? The march is on the mid side. Falcom here coming out with the siege, trying to get and a two-man stun coming out.
Well, Barrage, but a triple knockup against the Fluffy Fighters. Caught them off guard. You're going to see the alpha charge after the immortality play, but Krevi will shut down Kenji. Super Shadid still left. May be able to deal some damage. You are going to see the Lord making his way into the base. Inhibitor on the bot side has been opened up, but you are seeing Team Falcons disengage.
Yeah, a small reversal coming out from the Hawks here. They're able to find out some crucial sets and pick, and it starts with that implosion. Super able to get some crucial sets to allow the side of Falcons to be able to have that Lord in their favor. And not only that Lord, but a complete almost wipeout here. Team Falcon coming back into the game has evened out. You know, if you take a look at the XP, it's completely evened out. If you take a look at the gold, it is in the Falcons' favor here. So whatever Fluffy had in the first 14 minutes, it's all gone. The game is completely even. And now they have to kind of figure out how they can shift this momentum back into their favor.
It's time to drop the gloves and put on some brass knuckles, because they're going to have to hit a lot harder as we're getting into that 16-minute mark. Now the late game, and with Team Falcons already having the lead in terms of gold, there was that winner crown pickup by Kenji as well. They're ready to start dishing back some damage to avenge the early game pressure that Fluffy Fighters was showcasing. They already have the wave management control, and now an opportunity to take some more inhibitors on the way, forcing Fluffy Fighters back to the base.
And that was completely free from the side of Team Falcon. They just put a little bit of pressure on the top side and it broke. And Fluffy Fighters here, they're looking a little bit desperate. It's looking a little bit grim. You could even see the Nolan here getting that mid cut, but forced back to his base. Fluffy Fighters have to kind of regroup and reset. If they can play the front to back, if they can get the good ultimates synced up together, they stand a fighting chance here.
Yeah, a couple of defense picked up too. Lido with the Twilight Armor. Speaking of Lido, not enough to sustain himself. Kenji will find him. Allen taking down Super Shadid. One member down for both sides. Make that another as Allen will fall. That's going to be the ADC for Fluffy Fighters. Winner crown procced. But Kenji will find Krevi, but not before he takes down Lark. Pimmy and Raph after left to defend. Krevi able to get another kill. 3 members down for the side Fluffy Fighters. Kenji able to get the Lord for Team Falcons. Pimmy's immortality being procced. Raph Fafner forced to recall back to the base to defend. And that is going to be a trade over to Team Falcons. A possibility to push on forward through this game, but can they close it out?
Hey, I mean, that Lord was as close as it could possibly be, right? But here we go. Kenji with the 2-man unit going into the base looking for a close. Does get the Winter Truncheon popped off, grabs up that kill. The Avatar comes down and gets a set, but they have to look to disengage. The full barrage in full force right now.
Yeah, it may have been a miscalculated play. They thought that they had enough time to be able to close it out, but quickly punished. And this should allow enough time for Fluffy Fighters to be able to burst down this Lord, especially with Allen back into the mix.
Yeah, and 18 minutes in, this is kind of, we're getting to the point where it's just full items coming out from both ends here. Leslie should be able to have kind of the superior advantage just due to the long range ability, but the flicker coming in.
Yeah, immortality being procced on to Allen. A lot of damage. Massive knockup. Super Shadid will be able to get one. Allen will fall. You're going to see Super Shadid take down Krevi as well. Kenji does fall in this engagement, though. Lark taking down Pimmy. Lido left to defend Raph Afton just in time to spawn back in. Avatar the Guardian evaporated right there. And now the push for potential game winner. Look at the base crystal quickly bursted down and some recalls for celebration as Team Falcons has turned this around and taken game number 1 against Fluffy Fighters.
Wow, Team Falcon with an insane performance, bringing the game back into their favor. The early game was tough to watch, especially since the Phoveus and also the Alpha just wasn't able to find a way to come back online. But with some of the implosion sets that Super was able to kind of have, he grabbed up crucial units on the first siege that Fluffy provided in the mid lane, got those 2 units, and then again with the implosion on that second Lord, it really just showed that Falcon, even in a losing scenario, is still calm and collective and able to find the correct sets to push them into a further game.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Cool, calm, and collective. The trifecta combination, what every team needs to have, especially in a situation when their backs are against the wall. And that's exactly what we've seen today from Team Falcons. Even down in kills at the very end, still able to turn it around. And the question is, where did Fluffy Fighters go wrong? I mean, they were in control for not only the early game, the mid game, and the late game. And then out of nowhere, a couple of miscalculated plays and Falcon punished.
I think that they needed to find maybe a little bit more peel onto the backside, right? The Aurora and the Exia, although these are two long-range heroes, they just didn't feel like they had enough peel, especially when they had to deal with the Phoveus and the Alpha charging them. Now, the amount of dives that Fluffy has prepared, the Hylos and the Gatot, it worked magically. Early game, you saw Fluffy Fighters dominate in every case scenario, but when it came down to that full late game comp, it just didn't feel like Fluffy was fighting with their advantage. Maybe having Hylos pull back a little bit, or the Gatot tanking and soaking up some of the bounce that the Phoveus can provide. Maybe something like that set Allen up for better ultimate. Could have turned things around, but I would also say Falcon just played a great game here.
Yeah, just a really great game indeed. Surviving through the late game and able to turn it back around is not the easiest thing to do, but they found that opportunity. It's just a lot of aggressive plays in the end, not working in Fluffy Fighters' favor, and now a potential for a possible sweep if they're not careful. I mean, it's another best of 3, right? And this is always the hardest thing to come back from, because every single game is pivotal to you being able to win this series. You see all those winner crowns being picked up last second as well. And now the question is, who deserves the MVP?
Koba here is going to be the one that picks it up. It's going to be the gold laner, the Leslie, right? And I think what really allowed this Leslie to do the damage that he is looking for is that he had the Tigreal as the front line. He had the Alpha coming in as a support cast, and also the Phoveus. So there were so many people that allowed Koba to kind of just go above and beyond, right? He could just shoot from that far range. He could get the damage that he's needed. And there's 3 heavy front lines that can stop both the Hylos and the Gatot from reaching onto him.
Yeah, it's just, it's an interesting run, right? You get to see this Leslie pulled out. It's been very dominant, especially toward that late game. You mentioned a word that kind of stuck with me, right? A cannon. And you don't want it to rev up because you start to see how much damage it can dish out past that 16-minute mark. And once you get those core items in, it's pretty much a wrap if you can't find a way to the back line. And a lot of punishment from not being able to close that game out early from the side of Fluffy Fighters. Now, let's talk about game number 2 and things we'd like to see. From the side of Fluffy Fighters, I think there's a lot that went right with them. I think they just got to find a way to close out the game. Koba, though, I mean, look at the rotations. Definitely a lot different than what we've seen in the heat map from the previous series that we got to cast together. He was mainly, for majority of the early game, down toward that bottom right corner, actually closer toward that XP lane. But then you start seeing him rotate around, and he's looking for those setups. Overall, I think it was a great game, but it's just kind of hard, right? Because majority of that game, Fluffy Fighters was the dominant team. So it's really just the last-minute decisions and the mistakes that costed them that game.
Well, from yesterday's match leading up to right now, Fluffy Fighters have came a very long way. Yesterday's match, we were talking about like a 12-minute, 13-minute end. Second Lord gone. But this was a complete different Fluffy Fighters. It seems like they came out, practiced, they were watching these clips, and they had a strategy coming into this match. Yes, they fell just a little bit short, but Fluffy Fighters still had the opportunity to find ways to close this game out. They were standing right in front of their middle inhibitor. They were able to get that just messed up a few times. So I think Fluffy, they've done a great job. They're just missing 1 or 2 more winning team fights.
Yeah, they're missing the game closers, right? They definitely know to show up and show out in the early game, in the mid game as well, but like none of that matters if you can't end the game. And that's I think that's something that Team Falcons was heavily able to lean in on. And that kind of worries me because with Team Falcons, now that they see that Fluffy Fighters was very aggressive in the early phase, I'm expecting them to have a plan to deny that early pressure from rising like it did in game number 1. So definitely with everything on the line, this is the last chance for Fluffy Fighters to be able to remain in the Open Finals before the challenge season and have a chance to be a grand finalist. So they definitely want to go back to the drawing board and have a game plan just for the game ender. Everything else was solid. It was just the game-ending performance of letting that Leslie get way too farmed and then quickly getting punished from that cannon.
Well, this again is the first time that I've been able to kind of see Fluffy Fighters really demonstrate what they have and how they've got to this point in the tournament, and it's quite impressive. Falcon is a team that has gone up against plenty of different MENA top teams and have held out their own spot against them. They're able to get this far into the tournament. They're able to get some of these wins and even take away games from other teams. But here we come. Fluffy Fighters, the first time that I've ever seen them able to get the performance that they're looking for here. And now bans are coming back. Chip taken off the board. I think that's a no-brainer. I want to see if Fovius and also the Khalid is going to be taken out by the side of Fluffy.
Yeah, the Fovius is definitely a threat if it walks. The Suyo is still on the table. We saw it actually banned out last game. I wonder if it's going to be the same plan this time around. This is Team Falcons who's going to have draft prior. They're going to take out that Katat. I mean, we see it kind of taken out alongside the Khalid. Both of them a great combination when together. There goes that Suyo we were mentioning, but you talked about the Fovius pickup. It's still available for grabs, and it could be a wise decision for either side. But when it comes to Team Falcons in first pick, you never know what to expect. I was about to just say this, right? We've seen them pick up a Franco first pick in the last series, so I've kind of just let them do their own thing. They're going to take the Mathilda, though. They're going to allow it, the Fovius to walk in. I mean, hey, they knew it was there, so I'm expecting them to have a plan to go against it, but we got to see what that plan is.
Yeah, this is MENA and EU is a region that we don't really actually get to see the Matilda being walked. So it's getting first pick, it's getting banned out consistently. And not only the Matilda, we're talking about Minotaur and Tigreal. There's a lot of these front lines that they like to have, and here we go. The Hayabusa gets picked up by the side of Fluffy. I was wondering if they're going to be leaning towards that. In game 1, Falcon took that off the board, did not give a chance that Fluffy was going to be able to play that. But this time around, the Hayabusa gets picked again. Now, game 2 of yesterday, Fluffy did pick up the Hayabusa. It was unsuccessful just due to the cheese that Falcon prepared early. But this time around, I think we're going to see a very good showcase coming out from the Hayabusa.
Ooh, speaking of showcasing, I was going to say, hey, the Ling is available, but they're going to go in for the Alpha instead. I guess they're going to go more for that crowd control aspect, but it is going to limit them on their split push capability, especially when you're going against a Hayabusa who's already a very high mobile assassin with the quad shadows. And you are going to see this Vexana be picked up again. It was huge in terms of those internal guardians. We got to see a lot of damage toward that late game as well, but it was on the side of Team Falcons. This time it'll be Fluffy Fighters pulling this out. We have yet to see the mid laner for the side of Team Falcons or the marksman as well. So they're hiding both of their backliners and saving it for the second phase of this draft. Speaking of the second phase of the draft, they're going to go ahead and take out that Aurora and that Faramis, limiting some sustainability and also limiting some crowd control. But we've seen how much of a threat that Frigid Glacier can be with the Pride of Ice as well, something that Team Falcons loves to kind of thrive on. And it's a good option to be able to take it away. But there's still some great mages that could be picked up here. I mean, you don't even know who the roamer is for Fluffy Fighters. Technically, you could pull out a Valentina here, right? You can have a little bit of insurance, and if they pick up a roamer that has some great crowd control, then you benefit. The Ruby is still up for grabs. It's another hero that's sustainable, especially when you have an assassin like the Hayabusa who's going to rush in for the dive. You can stop him in his tracks, and you can survive even when a team decides to gank in your lane.
Yeah, Fluffy has picked up a Grok in game 1 against Falcon, but it just didn't work as well. So I'm kind of thinking they might be going for something else this time around. Now, in terms of the mage pick, you kind of went over a few picks. The Valentina could be a possibility, but they've done quite well on a ZAS. I think the Aurora and the Faramis are bans that need to be taken off the board. But now it does leap open Zask, Valentina, and even potentially an Angela. right? Matilda does deal some magic damage paired up with the Edith, so it could be kind of like that sustained Ube-S style that the side of Falcom is setting up for. Now, Falcom picking up this Moskov, it's a great pick. Ooh, but the counterplay hurts. We all know how the Clint does against a lot of these marksmen. Get build up into kind of like the defensive route and just go for that 1-2 punch that I think the Fluffies trying to dish out themselves.
The Clint is a little interesting. It's not a traditional marksman we see, but we have seen it sometimes showcase itself in the professional level of gameplay. The grenade bombardment, definitely something that they can make work in their favor, but the trapping recoil is going to be good as well to be able to stop that Hayabusa. But the Zask, you know, it's interesting that we haven't seen it more often. I feel like it's just been forgotten about, but it does a lot of damage. Not only that Nightmaric spawn as well, to be able to control pretty much an entire lane and extend the range of the damage you're able to dish out. It's been a threat, and you definitely don't want to take it lightly. Both sides are locked in with the draft finalized. The roamer, Pimmy over there for Fluffy Fighters, decides to go in for this Grok. Now, there's not too much crowd control for the Grok, so I'm not really expecting he picked it just because of the hugging the wall for the anti-CC, but more for the wild charge setups to be able to possibly initiate and create an opportunity for the Fluffy Fighters.
I think both teams are leaning towards a lot of comfort picks, right? The side of Falcom, they were able to pick up the Clint game 2 during our 8th match and got the victory there, right? And Fluffy Fighters, again, they picked up the Grok last time that they played against Team Falcom. So I think this is just something that both teams are quite leaning towards, right? They understand that they have proficiency on these heroes. They've gotten some wins here. So both teams are actually playing things that I think they are quite good with. So expect a very, very nice, solid match coming out. I think both teams are quite happy with the draft here. But when it comes down to the momentum, seems like Team Falcon just has a slight edge here.
And speaking of edge, ladies and gentlemen, we are now jumping into the lower bracket finals between Team Falcons and Fluffy Fighters. Game number 2, an opportunity for Team Falcons to secure their spot into the grand finals and say goodbye to Fluffy Fighters until the challenge season. But another opportunity for the Fluffy Fighters to even out the series and take us to a game number 3.
Yeah, it just kind of depends which direction. What do you call like the little winds that come out from behind? The Hawks can kind of glide onto that wind, and same thing with the clouds here, but we don't know what direction it's going to be pushing towards. Is it going to be with the winds for the Falcons or against the wind for Team Falcons? But an early aggression coming out from Kenji. This is what we expected, and already the guiding winds from the Matilda providing some utility for that immobile jungle.
It's so funny because you said the winds that come from behind, and one thing came to
gliding.
mind.
What is it? Is it kind of like a draft or something?
Yeah, a draft for sure. The guiding winds, though, could be huge, especially for the setups and to be able to get members back to safety when things are not looking in their favor for these engagements. But the thing about the Matilda is you have to basically not be too overly aggressive in the beginning because your heals are not going to be that strong. And you're already seeing the over-aggressive gameplay from the side of Falcons. But they are having the numbers advantage. But look at Lido rushing in. Is this a mistake? Oh, we are going to pan to the bot side for a second. Kenji will fall. Pimmy able to take him down. And this is exactly what we were talking about, right? You have to know when these heroes scale. And yeah, your limits. And right now, they are overextending, and that is going to be a free kill over to Fluffy Fighters. Not only a kill, but able to take down the jungler, Kenji. But a response back, Alpha will take down Pimmy, is going to trade that jungle for the roamer of the Fluffy Fighters. And now the battle for the turtle on the way, the knock up with Earth Shatter. Airborne onto Lido, forced to use Demonic Force. He needs a little bit of backup, though. Fafner needs to join him, or he's going to fall. He's able to find Alpha, though. Super Shadid is going to take down Lido. That is going to be another member down for both sides. Circling Eagle may connect. Does he go in? Decides to disengage, but gets hit by a massive knockup. Kreb able to take down Kenji. Spear Destruction all the way from across the map. Rap Fafner will find a kill of his own. Takes down Kenji, which means they won't have the Rechu play for Team Falcons, and Krebby will take this turtle for Fluffy Fighters.
Yeah, an aggressive start coming out from both of these teams here. Falcon coming out with kind of like a long-drawn team fight, leading by Super on this Matilda. You could really tell that Team Falcon's quite pro-efficient on this hero. And the side of Fluffy Fighters, they're able to find mistakes here and there. You can see Lido being picked off. You can see the Grok being picked off, but that's not without consequences. Fluffy Fighters now, even with 2 deaths, they're able to come out just a little bit ahead in terms of gold department. And if you take a look at some of the levels, you could already see some difference between both of these teams.
Yeah, speaking of differences, the difference is working in Fluffy Fighters' favor. Lido able to outpressure Super with the additional members of Fluffy Fighters in that mid lane. This is the second death for the Matilda, and the more you die, the earlier you die, the longer these heals are going to be coming into effect that Team Falcons can rely on. Hunter Strike picked up by Raph Fafner as well for that pin and movement speed.
Yeah, and Matilda is one of those heroes, especially nowadays, that they like to build the Flask, the Book, and maybe even the Bloodwing. So you're not really counting on the Matilda to build a lot of defense. Rather, she's building a lot of cooldown and magic. So especially if the Matilda is dying early, it's just gonna hinder her performance to be able to soak up just a little bit more damage that she's looking for.
Yeah, speaking of damage, Super very low. Raph Fafner with the quad shadows, able to expand the distance, takes down Super again. That's the 3rd death for Super. Alpha able to find Lido on the top side on the 2v1 engagement, and now we'll deal some damage to that tier 3 turret. But on the bot side, look at the chase. Lark needing to fend them off. But hold on, Pimmy from the side has a wild charge, and the flicker play, and Allen off that assist, off that alley-oop, will get the kill in the gold lane.
It's a comfort with the comfort here, but the guiding wins, trying to look for Allen here. He does get that flicker away. Pammy is actually chunked quite low, but throughout all this battle and skirmishes, the side of Fluffy Fighters able to take the objective uncontested, and this is exactly what Fluffy Fighters need to be able to find their wave grooving into this match.
And speaking of grooving, both sides dancing it out inside of the jungle. May not lead to a kill though. Mid turret still intact. 2 turtles onto the side of the Fluffy Fighters. Pimmy giving some great vision, but does he know Super's in that bush for the sustainability? There goes the circling eagle for a little bit of that crowd control. They may be able to actually take him down. The wild charge though, the double knockup, and Pimmy trying to run back to safety. Super Shed trying to close the distance. Raph Fafner from behind though is going to take down Super. His 4th death of the game. That's almost a death every single minute on this Matilda.
And the crazy thing is, like, how did the Grok even get out alive? But on the highlight screen, you see Lido here being taken off the board. I think that was a little bit earlier, but again, how does Pammy keep getting out alive in these situations? And Super is the one that actually is the one that takes the consequences here, right? The Matilda first pick, we saw so much damage, but he's just not doing the work he's looking for.
Yeah, Raph Fafner able to take down Kenji, but you made a good observation on Pimmy. If I had a Pimmy, I guess I should say Penny, huh?
Every time he's close to death.
If he gets that way, I'd be rich right now. Actually, no, I'd only have maybe 5 cents. Lark is going to go ahead and take down Allen. You are going to go ahead and say Super. Get his kill right there. Allen will fall. Kenji now going to spawn in the battle over the purple buff. Looking like Falcon may decide to invade. No, they're going to go ahead and hit a quick 180. 9-4, though. Fluffy Fighters, they're up in kills, but in terms of the turrets, it's an even matchup.
Yeah, they're actually down the mid tower, which is the most valuable one. It allows Team Falcon to kind of open up this turtle area. You can even tell some of the visions that they have. They're just able to push Fafner away from this objective of Pemmy. I think he's going to make a play here.
Yeah, Quad Shadow goes in. Krevy able to take the turtle for Fluffy Fighters. Raph Fafner will fall, though. Super on the punish. Krevy maybe next, forced to use the flicker back to safety. Look at the positioning from Falcons, though. Getting bullied by that Eternal Guardian. Dealing a lot of damage right there all by himself. He's just chunking. That's like 2 members. It's taken down at 50% HP. But down goes the tier 3 turret on the bot side. Oh, wait a second. You're going to see Zas going in. We haven't seen it in a while.
Okay.
Maybe able to get a play. There goes the wild charge for the knockup. Circling Eagle, wrapping around Pimmy. Able to find Lark. That will be the ADC down. Speaking of ADCs, Allen right behind Super Shadid will take him down. A lot of damage being dished out by Fluffy Fighters, and they're not planning on stopping anytime soon as Lido will find Kenji.
Yeah, throughout the whole entire team fight, you had Fluffy Fighters Alan all the way from the other side, getting towers, farming waves, and then he hits that Blade of Destruction, teleports on the bot side, and picks one up for himself. If you're talking about kind of like the gold lead, Alan is definitely, you know, he's feeling good, right? We going into that mid game, the laning phase is over. He doesn't have to look at the Clint. The side of Fluffy Fighters, I think they're quite happy with this trade. They get some kills, yes, and they even get the Lord. Krevi's going to be the one that picks it up. So here we go, Fluffy Fighters, even with another bit of advantage, they should be able to group up at mid and try to find a way to maybe start some of these team fights, because I think they're up here.
Yeah, and I'm wanting to see how this Dominator's just sent that Nightmare spawn over there by Super Shadid, the ultimate. How this comes into play, right? How heavy it's going to hit, especially after Zast, you know, recently getting a couple of nerfs. We haven't really seen him as much, but just because we haven't seen him doesn't mean it's not effective. And this is why I love to see these pocket picks slide into the land of Dawn. But the threat so far has definitely been Alan on this Moskov, right? I mean, look at him on the bot side. His split positioning. He's going to go ahead and clear out these minions and probably use a Spirit of Destruction to join the battle for the Lord, but may not be able to get there in time. Kenji will find Krevi. Members dropping left and right. Lido may be next. Forced out of the Lord pit. No, I don't think that Alan's going to join the party. I think he's going to take the trade on the bot side by taking the tier 2 turret.
And all the way from the other side here, Alan is up again. He's trying to get these towers. He's farming these waves. And that's the thing that is so annoying about Moskov, right? You just have him on the opposite end of the lane. He could just come in and teleport into team fights with Spirit Destructions. But the damage coming out from Lark is crazy.
Yeah, DHS picked up by Alan as well, who's now with the team ready to fight. But he's taken a couple of punches himself. Everybody going back to the base to get some regen, as we are going to see this Lord marching down the mid lane, and Team Falcons on the push, taking the tier 2 turret for the top side. Wild charge, triple knockup, and some additional damage from the Eternal Guardian. Rap after finding Kenji. Lark will fall right beside him, all while Alpha down on the bot side with the split push.
Yeah, I want to say great plays coming out from both of these teams here. The side of Fluffy Fighters, they have the frontline set coming out from that Grok. And the same thing can be said by Team Falcom, right? Some of their success has been led by Alpha with the flicker knockup. So both teams have what it takes. But here we go. The Phoveus, the first pick impact. He's so annoying to play against. And this is exactly why. Lito, 4, 2, and 5. So much impact so far. And Fluffy Fighters here coming with a siege.
Yeah, and the siege for the tier 3 turret in the mid lane on the way. Super finding Rap Fafnir. That'll be the jungler for Fluffy. Alan taking down Super Shaded, and the tier 3 turret objective has been claimed for the Fluffy Fighters, but now trying to get back to safety, and Falcons on the chase, not going to be able to close the distance for the kill.
And this is kind of like the downtime where I feel like the game should kind of slow down for both of these teams, right? They could look for some sieges, but they're just mainly looking for some positions and looking for some mistakes here. Falcom gets a mid tower for free, looking for a knockup, and some damage are being done.
Yeah, Alpha able to slide back to safety, though. There goes the guiding wind for the sustainability. Kenji with the Alpha charge, able to take down a Lido on their way out, but Fluffy Fighters giving a little bit of pushback.
And the pushback is pretty much what Fluffy Fighter kind of needs, right? The Lord is coming up 50 seconds. With a death here, it's not really going to do too much. And Fluffy Fighters, yes, they are the ones that are up in terms of the gold, but it seems like Team Falcom has the momentum back in their favor. Even with like this, they are still looking for siege onto the bot side here.
Yeah, Lark is going to take the inhibitor for the bot side. Krevi very low, needs to get back to safety. Super Shadid not going to allow that to happen. We'll find the mid laner for Fluffy Fighters on their way out of the base. The base now cracked open for Fluffy Fighters, and a chance for Team Falcons to capitalize. They may be going back in for the inhibitor in the mid lane. A flicker forced out over there by Lido. A lot of utility expended so far as he picks up the winner crown.
Yeah, and I think Team Falcom's gonna be quite happy with the siege, right? They're able to open up the bot side, they get a kill, they get a flicker onto Lido, and that's at the expense of no utilities. Falcom is just able to find better situations, better sets, but here we go. Falcom looking to get collapsed here.
Watch out in. Wait, a misclick. Kenji able to get The Lord Rap after he goes back with the quad shadow way too early. Force used the Luigi shadow kill and now quickly punish. Super able to take him down. A little unfortunate for the Fluffy Fighters. A mistake that will be punished by the side of Team Falcons as now they're seizing the opportunity. Minions on the bot side, minions in the mid, and a Luminous Lord making his way toward the base. Are they going to go in for the opportunity for a game closer to stop Fluffy Fighters from progressing in this series with a 2-0 sweep? We are moments away from finding these answers as Lark takes down Lido. Krevi and Pimmy left to defend by themselves. Krevi will fall. Allen spawning in time, not even going to move out of the base. Quickly bursted down by Lark, and the base crystal will fall. Team Falcons has done it. They have shut down Fluffy Fighters and will earn the last seat to the grand finals of SPS Season 6.
Another great game coming out from the side of Team Falcons here. A 2-0 sweep against the Fluffy Fighter. We saw them do it yesterday, but today Fluffy Fighters gave us more of a chance here. But again, Falcon, it just seemed like they were just much more prepared. It seemed like they just played well, and with the amount of heroes, different heroes that they were able to show in today's matches so far, this is definitely the team to watch out for. 14-15 is the overall, a 14-minute game fashion here. Well done coming out by the side of Team Falcon, able to come back in another game here.
And this just shows you how important every game is, especially in a best of 3. Fluffy Fighters, they were in a position in game number 1 to where this could have been a tied series. But when it's a best of 3, it makes it very impactful to take every single match, especially when you have the advantage. There's little to no insurance. You are going to see Falcons, though, after their performance in the upper bracket, quickly getting bursted down by GK and knocked down to the lower bracket finals, able to prevail forward with a sweep of their own and another chance to avenge themselves up against GK.
I mean, that is going to be a tough match, right? We saw in game 1 between Falcom and GK, Falcom just wasn't able to find the groove that they're looking for. But I think with a little bit of momentum here, and just even a small break, I think the side of Falcom, they should be able to find some openings here against GK. But back Falcom against the Fluffy Fighters match here. A lot of good trades early on. I would say Fluffy actually finds more of an advantage in the early trades. But again, the CC, the combination, the way that Falcom sets up the team fights for themselves, it just gave them a much better advantage when it came down to the mid and late game.
Speaking of advantage, a little bit of the showcasing from the series today as we bid farewell over to Fluffy Fighters. To all the fluffers out there, keep on fluffing. We'll see you in the challenge season. But to the side of Team Falcons and all their fans, fly high in the skies as they'll be moving on to the grand finals. And just a great performance to earn that momentum back. And it looks like they're ready to go head-to-head up against GK. Is this enough momentum for them to swing it back in their favor, though? I mean, their last performance against GK was a domination. Speaking of dominating, the MVP, Alpha.
Yeah, and, you know, Alpha here, again in that last game, he was the Edith with a Matilda in the roam position. That means the team relied on Alpha to be able to get that set up, especially in the late game, and he was able to do so. A flicker set means guaranteed death on the side of Fluffy, and Alpha definitely took advantage of that on the Edith. And you know, this guy, he's been performing quite well throughout today already. I'm kind of excited to see how he matches up against the side of GK this time around.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how both of these teams fare off. It's been an amazing day so far, full of surprises, and we got to see how Liz feels about all of these matches so far.
I mean, I just gotta say, we know that Wheezy is a man of games that go to the distance. Unfortunately, today you haven't had any series to go the distance yet, but I'm expecting a 3-game series coming in from GK versus Falcons in the next match. As we know, Falcons has been, playing the system a little bit. They know that no matter what, they might potentially go into the grand finals and face them again. So this is really their game to take that momentum that they just gained and secure a victory.
Yeah, and you know, if we kind of saw the heat map over there, that was the XP from the 0 to 6 minute mark. He definitely kind of stays in. He's in his lane the first like 5 minutes, and when it came down to that 5 to 6 minute mark, he started rotating around the map, you know, creating some pressure. And I think that really shows you, especially if you're looking to play the XP lane, that past that 5 minute map, you just got to kind of come out and help some of your teammates instead of just staying your lane like Argus, running it down, seeing if you could 1 versus 5 the whole entire team.
Well, I'll tell you what, all of these teams are out here having fun, and it's definitely showcasing it. But as we get to the grand finals, only one team will be able to reign supreme for that $3,000 cash prize. And the question is, who will that be? Will it be GK? Will it be Team Falcons? I mean, it was a pretty dominant performance in the upper bracket finals, but it's a chance at redemption for the Falcons.
Yeah, who do you guys support? Comment down below in the comments, and let's take a quick recap at the bracket. Now, with Fluffy knocked out of the open finals, they are still the top 4, so they will make it out into the challenge season, which will happen in January. Now, with 2 teams left, GK and Falcon, they are looking to compete for that top 1 prize and that top 1 glory. Who is the best team in MENA?
You know, it's a very hard fought between both of these teams. Even in the regular season, Falcon has won against GK before. In the playoffs, GK has took a 2-0 lead against Falcons. And I'm sure in plenty of the other tournaments out there, even in their ranked game matches, both of these teams are quite familiar with each other. So it just depends on, I think, who came out today and is looking for that win. Who had a good night's sleep, did their homework, and made sure that they were coming out with full force. We saw a preview between them in the very first match. Is that going to be the whole show, or are we going to see something new here?
Well, it's been a while since we've been able to see Team Falcons get a victory over GK. Even in EMEA Season 6, their upper bracket left with a 2-0 sweep to knock them out, to not even have a chance in the grand finals. And then here again in the upper bracket finals, the same exact situation. It ends at a 2-0 sweep to knock them down in lower brackets. This is their time. Is the third time the charm?
I mean, possibly they had 4 games to practice while GK had a little break there. Falcons was playing the entire time. So by now, they should probably be warmed up and ready to go and ready to take the game from GK. And there's not a lot to lose here, right? It's about the title and about the glory, but there's not that much on the line as other circumstances. But we will take a short break and we'll be back with you guys in a few minutes.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Ladies and gentlemen, last series of the night, the fated rematch between Falcons versus GK. This is the Snapdragon Pro Series Season 6 EU and MENA Open Finals Grand Final match. I'm your host Liz, alongside Yue and Weezy.
I mean, the last match of today, GK versus Falcon, we've seen it once before and we're ready to see it again. But hopefully this time, I think Falcon has a little bit more momentum coming into this match. Is it their third best of 3 series? I know they're tired, but I know they can push through here.
Yeah, is the third time the charm? That's going to be the question right now. I mean, the last time these two teams faced off was in the upper bracket finals, and it worked in GK's favor with a 2-0 sweep. But another shot at a best of 3 may be exactly what Team Falcons needs.
It's almost like these two teams just went against each other like an hour ago, but they are going to face up against one another again. And this time we are expecting Falcons or the two teams to have some maybe more serious drafts, but also we like to see some fun picks come out. The Atlas was definitely fun, and we can't wait to see what they have on the table for us.
I mean, seriously or not, I feel like both of these teams are playing to their heart's content, and there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of fun. But again, GK has been dominating throughout the last few weeks. Leading up to their playoffs, they've shown a lot of discipline, a lot of success, and a lot of practice, right? They have to kind of get through a lot of these matches, and MENA is a region not to take lightly. All their teams in the top are all extremely talented. That includes Falcon, that includes R8 Esports, Twisted Minds, and plenty of other different teams out there. It's a tough region, so I'm expecting tough matches.
I mean, all the way out from Egypt, just holding that flag high and just been performing really well. It's been such a threat for Season 6 of the Open Finals for the EU and MENA region. And can Team Falcons find a way to look for that vulnerability, a chance to have an advantage? I mean, even in the games we saw them compete, it just seemed like GK was always a step ahead. So hopefully this time we can see it go the distance.
Yeah, give Weezy that third game that he's been looking for. He didn't even believe that we had all 3 series yesterday, but today it's coming for you, Weezy. And I think draft is almost ready, so take us into the draft, guys.
Where's the take us in, Weezy, Squeezy?
Oh, I was saving it for you, but I'll take it. I'll tell you what, you know, I wasn't really doing it for myself on saying go the distance. I was doing it for Liz because she loves 30-minute plus games. Like I'm talking about like all the way to the best of 5, all 5 games, 30 minutes plus. Like she's one of those that loves to see the 2-hour breaks on top of that. I mean, you throw it out there and she's all for it. But speaking of throwing things out there, yes, I'm taking us into the draft, UA. We talked about GK and all the things they're doing right. And let's talk about Team Falcons a little bit in their journey. Where do we feel they need to, what things do they need to do to at least have the advantage in the early game for match number 1?
Well, it seems like Falcon is okay with taking off a lot of the assassins off the board, and a lot of the teams like to ban the alpha against the Falcons, which kind of means that potentially they have the ability to set themselves up for something more tanky, more sustained in the jungle. So with that in mind, Suyu comes into the picture. I know you've seen Suyu have a lot of success, and so have I. So maybe potentially looking for prioritization onto that, right? There's also things like the Hylos, the Gato Kacha, the Matilda, the Minotaur that have all been opened up here. And with the Khalid being taken off the board, it just shows that there's a lot of heroes that both of these teams can look to pick for here.
I was going to say, so you don't think that the first pick, Franco, should be pulled out again?
No. You know, the XP Kufra, I thought had a chance against the Fanny, but I would go for a Gato Kacha. I think that would be nice.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a safer option. Hylos will be picked up on the other side. We're going to see the Jushin back in the mix as well. Suyu is up for grabs. It's not been banned out, and I think it could be an excellent jungler that Team Falcons can kind of put in here. Definitely have to respect the damage output that this new hero provides. Now, we've yet to see who the mage will be for the side of Team Falcons as well. Speaking of junglers, the Ling is still up for grabs here. But we've been seeing these teams kind of prioritize the alpha and things like the maybe the Bane or Martis, but we haven't really got to see that Ling really rise to the occasion. There goes the Mathilda, though, which means this is a guaranteed XP laner Katat.
I mean, the Matilda is great. Same thing with the Hylos, but I feel like the Tigreal kind of shines quite a bit in the last few matches that we had. A lot of important implosion sets here. Now, the Matilda is still great. Okay, but there's so much mobility up available, right? You talked about the Ling being there and also the Suyu. Those are heroes that have a lot of dashes. It brings a lot of potential for the side of Falcon to be able to slot those in there. But GK here coming out with the Julian. We didn't really get to see him come out at all, but I know in North America, there's some great Julian players out there.
Yeah, I mean, in North America specifically, it's been a very highly prio jungler. It's been very effective, but it's a little different for me, at least, seeing it prioritized over the Suyu and the Ling on top of that. But maybe it's just a comfortability thing that GK doesn't want to pull out there. So better safe just to ban it. And we don't really know who the jungler is going to be for the side of Team Falcons yet. Like we mentioned, that Martis has been picked up. The Alpha is now banned out, so it's not going to be an option to work inside of Falcons' favor. So they may actually even go in for something like that Bane as a possible answer, or even better yet, the Nolan, which we've seen that fracture, we've seen the burst potential that can provide. There goes that mage pickup, though, the Aurora, which has been huge, especially with these frigid glaciers, and also that Pride of Ice, that passive to be able to kind of, it's like a built-in winter crown when you get very low, and it's able to sustain you through the heart of the battle, especially with how explosive these engagements have been.
Yeah, so the Rithel gets taken off by the side of Team Falcon. I think Falcon was actually the ones that were playing the Rithel earlier, but GK has played the Rithel more than a few times here, right? The Melissa, also another interesting ban. We don't really get to see it much often in North America, but over here, definitely feels like a comfort for a lot of these people. Now, you talked about the Assassins. Nolan still available, and I know Team Falcon has a great Nolan, right? They went 6-2 in the regular seasons with the Nolan pick, so this time around, it's a potential comfort pick, and also the Soyu, right? These are great physical damage dealer that mesh so well with the magic damage that the Team Falcon has set up so far.
Well, we don't know who the XP laner is going to be for the side of GK as well, because now the Khalid's gone and the Phoveus is gone. I mean, you could still pull out something like the CC, is good for the rotations, can definitely be a threat, but it's not going to be that traditional Khalid or Phoveus pickup that we've been seeing on repeat during SPS Season 6, at least for today. I'm liking the way the composition is looking so far, though. When I look at Falcons, they have great crowd control from the Aurora. They have the Avatar, the Guardian for the initiations, and they also have sustainability from the Mathilda, but they need a little bit more damage to top it off, and I think the Nolan would be a good read there, but I saw that face. How you feeling about that Jawhead?
I don't know how I feel about it, because when you play the Jawhead and you're going up against something like a Matilda, right? It's a pick with the guiding winds, he's gonna recover. It's a pick against the Katat, which the Katat can counter taunt. And a pick against the Aurora just doesn't seem that great. But the response coming in from Falcon here, they're not scared at all. They pick up the Suyu, which we've been kind of preaching, and I want to see him, you know, it could be the turning point, right? Falcon hasn't had a lot of success against GK in the last 2 games. Maybe Suyu is going to be the answer. And Harith to deal with the response of the carry. Harith is going to have a great time, but the carry is going to have a late game potential when the game goes far.
Yeah, it's just not a lot of respect on the Suyu so far for SPS, as I feel it needs, right? I mean, it definitely can hit like very hard, and the range for Suyu is what really makes him such a strong pick inside of the jungle. But when you are looking at the side of GK, they are going to pick up this Harith. Now,
where's the physical?
That's what I was about to say. There was barely any physical damage. Maybe the Jawhead is going to be their game
Jawhead
plan.
XP?
Yeah, it's gonna.
I don't know.
Ooh, yeah, it's a little tricky. It's a little shaky. But we'll have to see how this plays out between both these teams. As UA, we're officially here, the grand finals of the Open Finals for EU and MENA in Snapdragon Pro Series Season 6.
Casting any votes?
I'm gonna leave it to the people. You know, we don't want to give that caster's curse this early. But look at the teams; they're revved up and ready to go. We are gonna see the Suyu in the jungle going up against the Julian.
And again, this is one of the most anticipated match, the grand finals, ladies and gentlemen. Team Falcom against GK Esports coming out. Falcom didn't get the results that they were looking for earlier on today, but it seems like they've made some draft adjustments. They're going with picks that they've done well, especially in the past few games. The Matilda comes into the picture. The Gatot has had a lot of impact, and now Kenji on this Soyu could be that element. And also, GK here coming out with a little bit of a different draft. We don't see 4 magic damage dealers on the map before, but this time GK, I think, coming out with a different game plan.
Yeah, we got to see how they step into the early phase up against GK Esports. Now, Team Falcons, they started getting a little bit of that momentum boost, especially when they're going up against fluffy fighters. Looked shaky in game number 1, but game number 2 was more of a dominating aspect for them. And now jumping into a second chance to go up against GK, can they ride that wave?
And GK here already setting up the Julian with a nice juicy lead, right? Julian's one of those heroes that doesn't need that level 4 to start the invade, to start the advanced chains. And that's exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, and right now, keeping a close eye on Shin on this Jawhead. I mean, he's really the only physical damage dealer for the side of GK. We're going to see, is that a mistake? As you are seeing both sides starting to do a little bit of damage to Jushin with that lantern. Just such a threat. But here we go. Both sides find it out. The big taunt on the Kenji. The Suyu will fall. His first blood. And Zeno making the most out of the situation. Getting the turtle for GK Esports Glorious Pathway. A red carpet laid down over there by Samo. And you are going to go ahead and see Zeno take down Alpha with a great assist.
Yeah, and notice that Samo is the one that gets taken the lowest. Yes, Smile had taken a little bit more damage, but a toss coming out. He's able to get the passive off that Aurora, but the counterplay coming out here, looking for a kill, picks one up for himself. Kenji looking for a follow, almost grabs Zeno, but he gets out alive. Just barely. Super on the backside here, looking for that kill, and a good trade in the hands of Team Falcom, able to pick 2 kills up for themselves.
Yeah, overall, some good micros, some good maneuverability, and a very impressive play by Super nonetheless. But look at Smile trying to get some kills of his own. Flickers in on the Super Shadid. Does secure it, but at what cost? Is Alpha right on his tail, decides not to engage. You know he doesn't have the damage, and now it's going to still be a lead for GK Esports, 3-2. Oh, wait a second, though. Bot side, 2v2 engagement. Lethal ejector from Shin. Does toss Lark away from him and gets back to Playboy Carvey. But look at Smile. Look at the Crimson Beacon. Not able to close the distance, though, for the damage.
And pops a Purify there. So 1 utility down for Lark. It just means the next time Zeno comes down with the advanced chain, it might smell some trouble. But Falcom here with a pretty decent early game. It's not a winning trade, but they're still able to find something here.
Yeah, both sides fighting it out. Big knock up the enhanced chains onto Lark. Here you see the Zaman Force drop down as well. Circling Eagle may be able to hit the mark. Back to safety. Zeno taking a little bit of damage himself, forced to disengage.
Yeah, and again, Team Falcom, they're not playing that bad. Kenji's able to get a few kills picked off here and there, but GK's response has been great. They saw the Purify being popped. They put some focus onto Lark. Now they're making sure the Retribution gets used off of Samo's engage here. So that means it's going to be an uncontested turtle. GK looking to push this early game even more.
Yeah, right now GK with the slight advantage. Keep in mind, they were the winners in the last time these two teams fought it out. But right now, Team Falcons has a chance to change that narrative, but they got to be careful. You don't want to give them that inch or they may take a mile. You are seeing the guiding winds, though, from Super right beside Lark. Back to that tier 3 turret on the bot side to keep him alive. Almost gank opportunity for the side of GK, but a good read from Team Falcons.
Yeah, Team Falcon is able to kind of match the early aggression that the side of GK is setting up for themselves, even trying to grab a little bit of advantage on the top side. Samo here getting chunked quite low, but the Revitalize seems like it's just a little bit too much, right? This is why Hylos is getting taken off the board so early in some of the bans here. Glorious Pathway comes down, gets the stun, and he gets taken off the board just like that.
Yeah, right now, Super Shadid forced into the mid lane, 3-3 on the scoreboard, both sides even in terms of kills, which means this is pretty much a stalemate so far, but you still got to look at where the kills are going, right? Kenji 2-1-1 on the CU, and now GK on the chase for a possible push into the tier 3 turret for the mid lane. A little early to try and go in for a push like this, but quickly shifting focus to this orange buff.
So this Jawhead kind of has been a pick that I was a little bit confused on early, but it seems like it's a little bit more clear to me. I think it's to deal with the Soyu response, right? The Soyu needs opportunity to kind of hit his slashes in front of the enemy, but it is counterable by either a stun or something, right? So the toss from the Jawhead, Soyu needs to be in the frontline situation to use his spells, and if he is there, Shen has the opportunity to toss him back and cancel his spells. So PK here with a pretty interesting draft. Now going for Magic, I don't think that's a great solution. I don't think that is good in any sense, but if there's any team that can make this work, it has to be GK here.
Yeah, it definitely needs to find an opportunity to capitalize. Glorious Pathway dropping down. Potential kill maybe on the way onto Kenji. Playboy Carby will make the most out of that assist by Samo. Shin and Smile frozen in their tracks with the lethal injector out to Smile to be able to get him back to safety.
And Smile's having a good time so far in the game, right? He's popped Purifies here and there. He's 1, 0, and 3, 100% kill participation with no deaths on the team. He's pretty much the one that's controlling the whole entire game so far. And Team Falcon, they have to find a way to stop Smiles, but they're getting onto Shen here.
Yeah, on to Sin. Super will be able to find the kill. Samo able to take the tier 3 turret in the mid lane. There goes that Lantern. Look at all the pressure it's providing and the displacement onto Alpha.
It's so extremely annoying when you're playing like a roam or a tank up against that mage, because she just CCs you over and over and over. She'll put on that anti-heal, it'll burn you. She gives you that slow, and it's just so hard to deal with.
Yeah, and speaking of things that are hard to deal with, the battle in the mid lane on the way. Glorious Pathway dropping down. Crimson Beacon as well from Smile. Samo frontline a lot of the damage. Shin rushing in with the lethal injector. There goes the Pride of Ice, but not enough time to save him. Carvey will be able to get a kill on the Super Shadid. May be able to get a little bit more. Guiding win to bring Alpha back to safety. A good play by Super. Right now, a lot of pressure in the mid lane from both sides, but overall, GK pushing up the map.
Yeah, Team Falcon's able to find a few responses here and there, but GK has the map in their favor. Taking out all the outer towers and is just pushing on the lead in terms of the gold. But if you take a look at the damage chart, Falcon is not far behind. It's leading by the Aurora, followed by most of the members here, but it just seems like GK is finding objectives on top. A little bit of hope here though. Falcon looking to put some pressure onto the top side, but GK is also in position to find a counter set.
Yeah, right now you are looking at a turret being pushed in on the top side. Good map wave management from the side of Team Falcons, but a trade over to GK. They're going to go ahead and take this Lord. Right now you've seen Team Falcons trying to wrap around, not able to find a way in, and that will be an objective over to GK.
Now that GK has gotten the objective here, the game becomes a little bit more defensive for the side of Team Falcon. Earlier on, the side of Falcons, they're able to find trades, they're able to make a little bit more mistakes, and if the mistakes do happen, it's not gonna make it or break it in the match. But GK now, with the Lord marching down, they're looking to find sieges on the opposite side of the map. And Team Falcon, they have to make sure that they're not losing any of these members. GK is a team that if you give them the inch, just like Weezy said, it's going to be, pass a mile here, and GK takes care of that top tower. Falcon, with a great engage, looks for a pickoff. GK is actually going to be the one that gets the conceal off and takes away the Aurora. So that's going to be one crucial member that the side of Falcons do not have to be able to defend against this Lord. And they're still looking for more here. Pops the Purify onto the Lark. The Avatar of Guardian gets one stun. Pops the Revitalize, a 3-man set coming out from the Soyu, but the reinforcements come through here. The Glorious Pathway gets popped, and members are just falling back and forth by the side of Team Falcon. That's 2-for-0 trade. The Lord still healthy onto the bot side here. GK just kind of running away with pretty much everything here. And it's just they're just keeping on going here. It's a 3-kill to 0 for the side of team for DK Esports here, looking to push onto a little bit more here. Has the Glorious Pathway to kind of re-engage, to get away from such from the siege here. Now Team Falcon looking to see if they can find a way to gather their thoughts, right? 4-9 is the overall, still 11 minutes in. The side of Falcons, they have a chance to group up and try to push for a lead. In terms of their late game potential, they have the carry, which is traditionally kind of like that ticking time bomb, but with a tank like the Matilda, it doesn't really provide that front line set. Who's going to be the one that holds down Samo or holds down Shen, especially when they look to engage, right? So it could be that they have to get the carry to potentially set up right with the Aurora. And if they're able to kind of get these 2-man combinations, that may provide a little bit more potential in some of these team fights. But again, GK, they feel quite confident. You have Samo here, 0, 1, and 8. Ooh, fully ready for any of these team fights. You have Smile with a perfect score at 1, 0, and 8. Playboy Carvey also doing great for himself. It just really depends on how Falcon team fights to be able to find the correct picks onto GK Esports.
Yeah, GK able to take that Lord in their favor now, 9-4 at the 12-minute mark with this Lord. Should be able to push in, possibly go for a game ender. Might not even wait for this Lord if Falcon's not careful. They're kind of out of position right now, needing to get back to the base to defend, but they do have a little bit of wave management on the top side, especially from Lark pushing in those minions, but could be a mistake if they're not careful. There goes the recall back to the base for Lark. Now they're going to have to defend. It's not a Luminous Lord, so there's a little bit of insurance on that, but they have lost their inhibitors. Now you are seeing GK go in, trying to possibly close this game out, but can they do it with a non-Luminous Lord and minions marching down the bot side? Here goes the battle on the way. Glorious Pathway dropping down as well. Samo initiating Lethal Injector onto Super Shadid, forced to use a Flicker. Playboy Carvey finding Alpha. Base Crystal 50%, 25%, 10%. GK able to defy the odds and take game number 1 for the grand finals against Team Falcons.
Yeah, a great victory coming out from GK. Something that we kind of expected coming out. GK has always had such a great mid-game to late game, and they've been able to secure most of these games. But for me, just in terms of that little team fight, I have a little soft spot for the Hylas, right? I'm happy to see the Hylas get a victory here. And, shout outs to Samo right there. He hit the Glorious Pathway onto the Aurora, which is somebody that doesn't have much of an escape. He gets the stun off, takes the tower aggro, and hits that Winter Truncheon. It's a cute play going from the from the XP lane, and I just want to give a small shout outs just because it's a one-trick pony, man. That's what I like.
Those ponies, we know just how much those get you excited, UA, as we are now looking at that finish 10-4. GK off to a good start, a potential match point if they can pull it off again up against Falcon, and that will secure them a possibility at first place, as this is the grand finals of the Open Finals for EU&MENA Snapdragon Pro Series Season 6. Now, this was an interesting one, right? Not the highest in kills, but when it came to the objectives, we just seen GK all across the board, and Team Falcons not really finding any opportunity.
The opportunity wasn't there, but Falcon did not make as much mistakes, right? Yes, it is still a dominating fashion, 13 minutes, but low kill typically means you're not out there trying to kill for blood. Maybe we could turn some of these objective trades into we give you the turtle, we take your top tower. Right? Put some reinforcements onto the other side of the map. See if you could get one lane going. Because when you start trading, then it becomes a lot more even. But if you're just looking to, play 4 versus 4 on the early objectives, it just may be too hard to overcome. It could be GK's strategy. It could be how they're setting up. It could be some of the lanes that they provided. But if you take a look at GK's comp, it's obvious. There's a lot of early game damage. Julian, Hylos, Kareth versus a Matilda carry. It's going to take some time before the side of Falcom gets online here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you draft these late game compositions, it's very important that you have at least a strong enough defense to get to that mark, especially for a hero like Carry, who is that tank burster, who could have did a really good job toward that mid to late game. But unfortunately, with the pressure in the early game, they were just outshined by GK Esports, able to find all of these turtles, all of these lords as well, and able to close it out. Not even all these lords, just a single lord. This wasn't even a Lunas lord. And that just shows you how fast they were able to close out that game. Some great execution, but you can't count out Team Falcons just yet, right? They have another shot to be able to turn this game around, but they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. They're going to have to rethink their strategy. I think the draft was looking a lot better, at least from what we've seen in the upper bracket finals. But it's the macro and the micro that's going to make the difference here.
Yeah, and Smile here with the well-deserving MVP in the mid lane, 100% kill participation, 109, a complete perfect score. And it really tells you how impactful the Zushin really is. I know it's a new hero coming into the meta. It doesn't have that flashy burst like a Lunox or a Farsa. It doesn't have an extremely far range. But when you actually get into the nit and grit of this hero, the amount of CC, crowd control, you could even argue her early lane pressure, it is so much to deal with. So I think this is something that Team Falcom has to look to consider. Do we take it off the board? Do we pick it ourselves? Because I think it's too much to just give it away like that.
Yeah, it's definitely been a threat. The Zushin, such a heavy hitter. I mean, even the Suyu has been such a strong jungler, but it hasn't been effective. I mean, that was a loss right there with the Suyu onto the side of Falcons. So, I mean, effectively, I would say GK, they're not banning it out because they feel they already have an answer for it. They're comfortable letting that walk, and it's almost as if Falcons fell for that bait instead. Now you are seeing the heat map on the way. A lot of pressure in the mid lane over there from Smile, just dominating in the mid river, full control with the Zushin.
Yeah, now the question for me is Falcom a team a little bit more closer to, let's say, like BTK in North America, right? We don't really see the Ling being prioritized, the Fannies, the Assassins. Falcom's actually the one that are looking to ban towards GK's Assassin pool. However, a lot of the teams that face Falcom like to take away the alpha, which kind of reminds you that fighter, tanky jungle style. So maybe Falcom looks to prioritize things like the Julian, right? They haven't had a chance, and GK had a great performance on it. Maybe that is what we're leaning towards, or else maybe we should see the Ling or maybe the Hayabusa should be let open.
Well, then that also raises the question, right? If they're going to be a team, you kind of referenced BTK when, let's say, Mobizane, for example, or just a jungler who has that same type of play style. They like to go for more of these compositions that are more farm oriented, right? They want to go for these turtles, these lords, versus the assassin who paves the way in the early game, getting these side lane pickoffs. And if you're going to run a hero like that, then I think it's huge for the tank mage synergy to be the thing that makes the difference, right? You need to have a tank and a mage who's going to create these opportunities and deny the invasion plays from a team like GK, and also allow these objectives to be pushed in. But we're not really seeing that so far. I mean, even Super, when he's been running this Mathilda, we mentioned it several times, he gets picked off super early, and it takes even longer for the roamer to get the kills that are necessary to be able to keep the team alive in these engagements. So maybe going in for something a little bit more aggressive can help the side of Team Falcons gain control of the early game, especially for a jungler who, like you mentioned, is not going to prioritize picks such as that Ling, such as that Fanny.
Yeah, so when it comes down to some of the early games, some of the mages could be like Vexana, Aurora is pretty decent. The Fair Miss also does well in terms of the lane clearing, right? In terms of some of the tanks, I think the Hylos, the Gato, which both have been taken off the board. The Khalid could provide some sort of engagement, but the bans are off on the table here. The Phoveus has been let go. I'm extremely scared. DK is one of those teams that aren't scared to pick up the Phoveus, and they've done so well on that hero. You give them Phoveus, they're just gonna be happy taking it away.
Oh, and there it goes. I'm gonna go ahead and manifest that to reality. Phoveus has been heavily prio today, but there are answers, I feel like, for it. I mean, technically, okay, there's not really too many answers.
What?
Maybe you go in like the CC to give it some. Everybody asks that question, like, what do you do against the Phoveus, man? It's just been such a threat. But there are still some things that can kind of disrupt, maybe not the Phoveus specifically, but the synergy of GK, which will help it not be online as effectively as we've been seeing it. There goes one of the answers, and that's going to be that Vexana. We've seen that Eternal Guard drop down. Even when we were watching the Eternal Guard drop down, it was chunking down members to about 50% HP just from a single swing. So that can definitely be something that they can lean in on, and it can keep that Phoveus at bay as well. The Martis.
Oh, no.
Another good option too, because he has the anti-CC. He has the mortar coils to get the chain CC as well. So if that Phoveus decides to engage, he's going to get hit with a lot of crowd control. But there's the Ling, who we have yet to see. Excited for its debut. The ability to split push on these objectives, even when you don't go in for the turtle, you can go in for the side lane pickups. When the game is not working in your favor, you can split push and make the difference. Or you can use the Tempest of Blades for the invulnerability and go in for the Lord last minute and get a possible steal.
Now, Wheezy, have you ever seen a Phoveus and a Matilda on the same team?
A Phoveus and a Matilda?
A Phoveus and a Matilda.
Not in a while, no. Not on the pro scene.
Because the combination of that, it's almost like a trap that I think EK is setting themselves up to put onto Team Falcon. Because you have to imagine this: when the Phoveus goes in for the Goomba stomps, we talked about it. The biggest weakness he has is he's not able to come back. He goes in and it's an all-in situation 90% of the time, but you get Matilda. He's just gonna bounce, 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 and he's gonna be guided back into safety. So GK has a great draft here. I like the Ling pickup. It hasn't been heavily prioritized, but I think without junglers being picked up and Falcon taking one for themselves, the Ling is gonna be the next one on the chopping block. Zushin, great game by Smiles already, right? The side of Team Falcon though here, going for a Grok this early. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to reap the benefits that they're looking for. Along with the Martis, it just doesn't seem like it's where we want them to be right now.
Well, I will say right now, in terms of the drafting, I'm definitely favoring GK a little bit more. I always like to say, what trades are you getting for what you're allowing on the opposite side? And I mean, effectively, they've got a Zushin and a Phoveus. Zushin, probably the most prioritized mage, at least right now in the pro scene. The Phoveus, definitely the most prioritized XP laner. And then the Ling is the most prioritized jungler right now. So they got 3 of the top tier. That's like a lottery ticket, man. It's 2 more numbers, and they're going to be filthy rich.
It's going to be Angela.
You think so?
You know, the Matilda is a great combination with the Phoveus. It might be a little bit too sweaty, but the Angeling to get onto the to get onto the Vexana, it just adds that deadly element, and it doesn't go through. We're coming out with a little bit more of aggressive. Great picks coming out from both of these teams here, and the last one actually is very surprising for me.
I like the Cho though, because I feel like the Cho has been very effective. Like I said, these lottery picks, it's definitely up there in terms of meta. But it is going to limit them a little bit on crowd control, though, since they don't have really traditional group CC. Maybe the Zushin can make up the difference with that Lantern. But on the side of Team Falcons, I'm a little worried for them, right? I mean, they just picked up that Diggy. I've been watching Diggy get slotted in the pro scene, and every time I see it, it just doesn't really work out. No, I mean, I even seen, I guess there's a strat going on where it's like a Diggy, Freya combo, right? Yep. And yeah, I just have yet to see it really profit. This is not even a Diggy Freya combo, though. This is just a straight up Diggy. And I don't know if it's going to have the impact that Team Falcons is looking for. But like you mentioned, hey, we're just casters up here. We're just observing. We can throw something out there, but it's up to them to perform. And I hope to see how how this Diggy pays off. I'd love to add notes to the book and see what's effective, and hopefully we'll get that today.
And guys, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snapdragon Pro Series Season 6 for the EU and MENA region, the Open Finals, and the grand final match, a best-of-3 series between Team Falcon and GK. We are on game number 2, so it's going to be match point if GK gets this win. And Team Falcon, they have nothing left if they lose this. And it's going to be a tough match.
Yeah, definitely going to be a tough one. We kind of both agreed in terms of what was able to walk over into GK's hands. They have a star draft. In terms of meta, this is Diggy in the XP lane. New way. I mean, I know. I'm right there with you. I don't know how I feel about it. Look at the displacement on the Kenji, though. Super Shadid, though, able to find the kill, takes down Shin, but Kenji needs to get out of there, especially on this Martis. Oh, he's able to survive.
You know, props to the revitalize on the Diggy strat on the XP. It's definitely something that we don't see quite common here, but expect Zeno to just have a great time looking for that Diggy, right? The Ling is gonna have so much opportunity picking off, let's say, the Chang'e, the Vexana, or even the Diggy. And quite honestly, we expect the Grok to actually be the one in the XP, and I think the Grok is in the XP as Alpha, but yeah, for a second, I think we thought the Diggy was the one leading that XP charge.
I don't know. We'll have to see when we look at the item build. Playboy Carver, though, is going to find Super. He does get displaced. Yeah, this definitely should be a Diggy roam. Zeno is going to find Super Shadid. 2-to-1 trade. You're going to see Team Falcons 2-to-1 on the scoreboard so far. And one of those kills went to Zeno. We know his main objective is to be that assassin and pave the way for the early game.
Yeah, and you know, Team Falcon has been one of those teams that have a very interesting early rotation. They like to put the roam sometimes at the mid for a full clear. For early level 2, they'll put the mage onto the top side, but this time around it might be something different.
Ooh, you're gonna see that revitalize pop off by Super. I guess it's a little effective. It kept Lark alive, but Super very low himself. Shin, a little bit of an overextension. Reverse time should come out here momentarily. Oh, wait a second. Able to connect last second. A good play by Lark. Alpha, though, caught by the Finch Boy. Zeno will be able to shut him down. Super Shed maybe next. Does fall. That's a double over to Zeno.
Yeah, a lot of the members of the side of Falcon is going to kind of crumble like paper. Zeno here on the Ling is going to be dealing tons of damage, and Ling is one of those heroes, especially recently, that has kind of came back into style. He just deals tons of damage. The split push is hard to deal with, and I just don't know if Falcon has it in their comp, but no. Turtle stolen here by the side of Team Falcon. A win that they must have in order for them to go far into this game, and they're almost getting another one.
I have so many questions right now because Zeno had the retribution. He just gives up the turtle practically for free right there. I don't know why he decided to go in for the 50-50 when you had an 100% chance with the retribution. Lark is going to go ahead and take down Smile on top of that. So that's a kill and a turtle for Team Falcons. If there was a moment of opportunity, this is it. Super Shaded is going to go ahead and take down Samo alongside that. 2 members following for the side of GK. And Falcons almost catching up in terms of kills.
Yeah, and Smiles actually played a great Zushin game on the last one with 0 death, and this time falling quite early here. So some mistakes coming out from the side of GK. They still have the gold advantage, but it seems like there is some fight, some response from the side of Team Falcon. We didn't really know how the Chang'e Diggy or even the Martis Grok is going to match up. It seems like Falcon has something in their mind.
Yeah, and you are going to see that meteor shower go out over there by the Shangu. Not a hero we typically see in the pro scene anymore, but I'm wondering how it's going to play into this. Super Shadid with the last minute basic attack does find Zeno, his first death of the game. Wait a second, Mortal Coils may have a decimation in plan, but hit with the way of the dragon and quickly punished by Carvey as Kenji will fall. A jungler for a jungler.
Yeah, but the gold lead is not really widening up. It kind of shows you Team Falcon has some winning trades, especially early on. If you take a look at Lark's KDA 2-0-1, it is going to be a attack speed Chang'e. For those people that don't know it, they're going for something like a Feather of Heaven bladed what is it, DHS golden staff. So the Chang'e is definitely going to be hitting quite a bit. It's kind of like a little machine gun, but it does take a long time for Team Falcon to be able to set that up, and I just don't know if they have the time necessary.
Speaking of time, Demonic Force dropping down on Alpha will find the kill. Smile able to take down Kenji. 2 members falling for the side of Team Falcons, and an opportunity to take the tier 3 turret play on the top side for GK. But the 2v1 situation, make that a 2v2. As Super is going to join the mix with the time journey to keep himself alive with that revitalize. Shin having a lot of damage. Kenji still on the board, does spawn back in 8-5, and GK currently leading.
Yeah, GK leading up with the 3K gold, widening that gap in between both of these teams. That it's just only 6 minutes in, and we've seen Falcon able to come back from worse situations. So this is something, you know, I'm comfortable watching Falcon kind of go through. They're down a little bit in terms of the gold. Even against fluffy fighters, they did blunder a little bit in the early game, but when it comes down to that mid and late game, that's when they start ramping up.
Ooh, massive G-Kundo, and the way the Dragon set up onto Lark. He does fall. Shin is the one to get the kill on top of that. Finch Poise in. Alpha checked out. Xeno will be the one for that kill. Samo taking down Super. Team Falcons dropping left and right. It's now an 11-5 lead. And a push for the purple buff.
Yeah, not the best news for the side of Team Falcon here. If they're truly looking to get this victory, they really have to be able to find trades, especially across the map. But if you take a look at some of the towers, right, the side of GK, they're just having a great time. You take a look at the ganks, the kills, the gold. Everything's just in their favor.
Yeah, now the push for the tier 3 turret in the mid lane, but Meteor Shower on the bot side from Lark, trying to connect on the Shin. Xeno does fall though in the mid lane. That is going to be Alpha getting that kill, but the tier 3 turret will fall alongside him. Smile will find one of his own, as Alpha will be the one to be punished. Super down by Playboy Carvey. May go in for the push on the tier 2 turret, but some good defense from Kenji and Super Shadid. 13-6. UA, we're only 7 minutes in, and they're already down to tier 2s for Team Falcons. What do they do to turn this around?
I think it might just be time to go to sleep. It's just a little bit too hard to come back with a team comp that really requires you to set yourselves up great for the late game, right? Diggy is one of those heroes you don't really want to feed too much. And you can take a look, see Kenji just getting picked off left and right. There's not much of a front set up for the side of Team Falcon. It may just mean that they're a little bit tired, but Falcon really has to find the right fights here.
Yeah, Alpha, speaking of the right fight, uses a wild charge, but nobody there for the setup. Samo will find him. Smile taking down Super Shadid. Playboy Carvey finding Lark, trying to go for the wipeout. Only Super left to defend with this Diggy. Not the hero that you want to push against a 5-man team. Trying to open up this map in their favor. Xeno able to find the tier 2 on the top side.
Yeah, you know, Team Falcon, I think you played a great series here, but unfortunately, you guys just might fall short a little bit in this match. Now, it's still not over. It's 9 minutes in, 9K gold lead. It's pretty much towards kind of like the worst case scenario possible. The only thing that could be worse is if they had like a 10K gold lead 9 minutes in.
The only thing worse is if they had more money in their pockets. I don't know if that's a worse thing, man. I'd rather have, you know, we'll see. But as we are looking, one thing that does work in Team Falcon's favor is they've got that fighting spirit, right? Maybe they can turn this back around. Maybe if they get a little bit of hope, could be the difference. I mean, look at the positioning from Kenji. Look how far he is. Watch how he pulls this off, right? He's sitting in that bush, maybe gonna go in for a Mortal Coils and a Decimation, trying to catch Xeno offline. Xeno not even worried about it though. Is gonna leave, forcing the recall out. Alpha hit with a lot of crowd control. Smile will find him. A little bit of an overextension. Could have just stayed in the base right there. We are looking at a Lord.
2-lane cut.
Uh-oh.
2-lane cut. That's the strat. he doesn't grab up that mid wave, but he's able to find a cut here. So Kenji actually providing some value for his team. Now, the defense is going on in the base. The Chang'e ultimate's not going to hit that hard, especially with the internal guard. It's not going to be able to save too much here. The Falcon reinforcements coming back online, but the Lord is still marching down on the top side.
Yeah, but was it effective? I haven't seen a 2-lane cut in a while. We'll see what kind of impact it has right now. I mean, no member has fallen for Falcons yet, but that may change. Kenji now joining the party. We'll find Zeno. Lord still intact. Carvey will find Kenji to respond back. You take my jungler, I'll take yours. Now with the Lord making his way to the base crystal and away the dragon to the face, Alpha will fall. Smile be the one to secure that kill. There goes that Crimson Beacon last second from the Jushin. Look at the base crystal, 50% HP. Samo taking down Super Shadid and Lark left by themselves, and the base crystal will fall. And ladies and gentlemen, GK will be the champions of the Open Finals for EUR&MENA. Well-deserved victory, and congratulations as they progress on to the challenge season and win the #1 prize.
Yeah, I think that this really adds to another element of GK's performance in the last few weeks, right? EUR&MENA, they've done quite a bit leading up to this point, and they're able to grab up the victory in the SPS Open Finals, right? And this does mean a lot, because a lot of these teams, they're not just flipping over and giving the victory. GK has played such a great game, drafted well, and throughout this whole entire tournament has just been nothing but great.
Yeah, better than great.
Better than great.
I say so myself. Greater than ever. You can keep going. What you got?
I mean, best. Perfect. I mean, they've pretty much played near there into that in terms of that level, right? We saw them with one of the hardest match against Twisted, which is just a sneak peek in the grand finals, and they were able to take that series into a 3-game series. However, they were winning early game to mid game all 3 matches. The domination of GK is something that I haven't seen before in the MENA region.
Yeah, it's just history repeating itself, right? We've seen it in EMEA, we've seen it in the upper bracket, and now we see it again in the grand finals. I mean, I think this is enough to say that GK, they're just a better team. They're able to perform, they're able to execute, and I mean, that's okay, right? Some teams have their kryptonite, and it just happens that GK is the weak link to Team Falcons. They're not able to find that opportunity to shut them down. So with GK pushing on forward, they're the grand finalists. I mean, it's been a journey, right? It's only been a couple of days, but there's been so many battles inside of the Land of Dawn, and glad to be a part of it. And UA, I mean, how are we feeling about EUR&MENA? Because this is not the end, right? This is only the Open Finals. They still got to move on to the challenge season to face some of the teams we got to see today, such as Falcons, and also teams from Turkey as well.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely enjoying a lot of the different hero pools that they have and the different prioritization. A lot of it is still quite similar to, let's say, the CE region or even the North American region. I think in terms of some prioritization, especially respecting the tank, they love to ban out things like the Matilda, the Gato Kacha, even the Hylos. While in North America, I felt like we're a little bit more behind. We're still focusing on the jungler. But over here, they're not scared to allow Lings, Fannies, Hayabusas to walk. So I feel like MENA is a region that really has a strong understanding of some of the prioritization the world has.
Playboy Carvey securing that MVP again. Just looking a little bit more familiar. Definitely starting to see which players are standing out for the side of GK. 4-0-7. He's just been so dominant and such a great piece to the puzzle that GK has been building this year. And now as we pan on back over to the desk, it's a little bittersweet. That's our final series for today. That's a close to the Open Finals, and just glad to be here. Liz joining us now on the desk. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Hidden behind UA here. There might be a little bit of a delay. So gold.
In the gold
before
lane.
we saw GTA 6. I mean, attack speed Chang'e is something that I didn't expect to see a pro tournament, but we did get to see it today. Taking a look at the bracket right now, the top 4 spots is going to GK clinching the top and walking away with $3,000. Falcons following behind with $1,500 and top 2 spot. Falcons, and below that is Fluffy Fighters, and then it's Birthright. So top 4 teams is dominated by the Middle Eastern team. So only one team, Birthright, is from the EU region, and the rest is MENA takes it all.
Now, I think a lot of us could have predicted that GK coming through. Falcom also an extremely strong team, but who would have thought the cutest underdog actually going quite far here in this tournament? The Fluffy Fighters put up a great show, especially when they came into the ring. It was just Fluffy Fighters in the spotlight, and I think there's a lot of people out there, a lot of fans. It's definitely warmed their hearts, won them over in this tournament.
I think you may be one of them, right? I mean, you're starting to look more and more like a fluffer every time we pan back over to the desk, and I'm definitely right there with you. It's amazing to see some of these newer teams rise to the occasion, and it's not goodbye, right? We get to see 4 of these teams progress, like Liz mentioned, inside of the challenge season, so it's not a goodbye at all. It's a see you later, and hopefully during the off season they can take a little bit of time to work out some of these kinks so that these teams that are closer to that number 4 position can have a potential to be the best, not only in EU and MENA, but also Turkey as well.
Yeah, they are going to be facing up against 4 teams coming in from Turkey, and we know with Fireflux Esports how strong Turkey is in the international scene. So that will happen all in January, and we will see all of you guys as well in January. I feel like Falcons right now, they just want to rest. They had a long day playing every single match possible today, and now it's time for them to take a little break, a little breather, and just let it wind down. Let's take a quick look at the calendar. We are at the Open Finals for the EU and MENA region. Coming up next on October 26th to 27th is Turkey's Open Finals. And after that, with the 4 teams selected from EU, MENA, and Turkey, 8 teams will move into the challenge season in January and will progress into the playoffs in February.
Yeah, so if you guys are rooting for the MENA and the EU region, definitely be on a lookout for the challenge season. You can take a quick peek through the Turkey Open Finals also, but you know, if you guys don't see us then for the Turkey one, we'll definitely see you guys potentially in the challenge season, you know, where all of us, if we're not up here, we'll be in the chat.
Yeah, so all you fluffers definitely don't go anywhere, because Fluffy Fighters is still in the mix for the challenge season. Same with Team Falcons, same with GK, and same with Birthright. And just glad to be a part of the desk as we put a close to the Open Finals for EU and MENA. We look forward to more matches with you guys.
Yeah, with Fluffy Fighters, they are the top spot for the Open qualifiers, and they've kind of proven off screen throughout the Open Finals how strong they are. They are top 3 in this tournament, and they will move into challenge season. I think last words, I know Weezy kind of already wrapped his thoughts up, but for you, any last words for you?
It's just a pleasure to get the Rush Hour duo again here together. And of course, Liz, always as the host, thank you so much. And of course, production, all the people in the crew, the people watching out there. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Yeah, I'm the little girl in the car in the rush hour. I'm not sure if it's the same reference, but great to see you guys. Great to have Yue back, and it's been an incredible series that we got to witness. A lot of interesting picks that we are not used to seeing, but it kind of helps us take a look at the different metas and going into the international tournament coming up very soon as well. So great to be with you guys, and great to be with all the audience who are watching and staying tuned with us. We want to wish all of these teams good luck in their upcoming tournaments, and we will see them once again in January. Bye, guys.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Let the weak melt away! Killing spree! Got easy. Let's take the kill back. Prime time, baby!
Looks like the players are ready. Here we go!